your skills, and lets you be home with your family. Apply today at callplumbingtech.com.
Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studios, fueled by True North Convenience Stores, WKRK-FM, and HD1 Cleveland Heights. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
Now, there's plenty of worry on Sunday when Jose Ramirez of the Guardians jammed his left shoulder while stealing a base. However, on Monday, skipper Steven Vogt painted a much nicer picture where things stand with a future Hall of Famer.
Jose came out of the game, some shoulder soreness, tightness, but he's feeling much, much better. So we're going to reassess him day by day.
Ramirez did not play in last night's game against the Cubs, but did not also need an MRI, so he's expected back in the lineup in the next couple of days. Now, last night in Goodyear, the Guardians lose to the Cubs 5-2. Gavin Williams got the start, goes 4 2/3 innings, gives up 5 runs, 7 hits, and would strike out 7. Guardians top prospect Travis Bazzana told on Monday he will not be making the opening day roster and will head off to AAA Columbus. However, Bazzana will stay with the big league squad until the end of spring training. World Baseball Classic semifinals last night. Venezuela beats Italy 4-2. Venezuela will now take on the United States in the WBC Championship game. That's happening tonight down in Miami. Cavaliers back to work this evening. Going to be Milwaukee taking on the Bucks. Tonight's contest tips off a 3-game road trip for the Cavs. They'll be shorthanded. Jared Allen's going to miss the trip. Continues to deal with tendonitis in his right knee. Don't miss this week's episode of 92.3 The Fans Offseason Special. Get the latest on the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time, the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The Afternoon Drive.
If Boston ends up overtaking Detroit, and they've been trying to play this thing for the 4 seed the entire time, and they overplay their hand, that will be devastating for them. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That would be a second-round exit, is what that would end up being.
Yeah, and that'd still be a massive failure.
It'd still be better. It'd still be better than what you had with Darius Garland.
No, it's not. No, because you're in the same spot.
Darius is giving you that.
Did you not get bounced out in the second round of the playoffs each and every time?
That's the point, though. I don't understand why it's so anti the James Harden deal when you were stuck.
Because it's supposed to get you over the hump.
But Darius wasn't going to get you over the hump anyway.
God bless it.
He wasn't going to do it.
This is exactly why I do lump you in with Ken and Lima and all the other people that just want to be good vibes only with the Cavs.
I don't see what's the problem.
Because there's a very real conversation.
They made a real trade.
They went for it and failed.
They made a real trade. They haven't failed yet. We're not even into the postseason.
The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Did you find free agency to be a win for Shedeur? Did you find it to be a win for the Browns quarterback room in general?
It was a huge win. I can't say for the quarterback room because they did not improve the quarterback room. So until further notice.
Well, the quarterbacks in the room was probably a win for.
For Shedeur Sanders is a massive win because let's face it, if they brought in Malik Willis, that would have been a big time loss. They didn't. So. Right now, it's funny. Everybody nationally says Deshaun Watson's his to lose because they remember Deshaun Watson from 5 years ago. We've seen him more recently.
Well, Zach says anybody who says that's an idiot.
I know,
was that the quote that he said?
Yes, but it seems like that's what everybody's saying. But you and I are kind of on the same page. We're like, no, I mean, they want Deshaun Watson. They want Shedeur Sanders to win.
Yeah.
Until further notice, right? Like, let's see, because there's still time. And
the people who are from a national perspective, I just don't think that they have boots on the ground to understand, how the city may feel about it. I think it's the opposite. I really do think it's Shedeur's job to lose. And I think it was a good free agency for him where you have new people coming in on the offensive line. Now, I want to see him with a little bit more time. But those who are outside of Cleveland, I just don't think they understand how the fan base feels about the entire quarterback room.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Good morning. Be careful out there on the roads, especially on the west side. Hi.
What's up, Kenny?
I don't want to start off yelling. Might end up starting off yelling. I'm fighting it here. I started texting the show group last night. What was that, about 7 o'clock when I got home? And I was in a bad mood. Really bad, not sad, aggravated, agitated mood about what the state of everything going on is. We were called out by another show, that coming up at 6:43. I'm not even upset with them. I'm not, because I think, again, I hate to point this out, and I get slammed for it a couple of weeks ago because I'm like, I think a lot of people agree with Nick. I just don't think you want to see his. I think there's a lot of people who don't want to see it the way he sees it, but I can't deny the truth that I think a lot of people think the way that Nick's thinking, especially when what happened Sunday happened Sunday. However, do we have to... Just because I don't want to do something irresponsible doesn't mean I want to tank. Just because I don't want to tank doesn't mean I want to do something irresponsible. And I don't understand why it has to be one of the two extremes. I don't get it. I don't know why we have to be from one extreme to the other on this. It agitates me. It's starting to boil my guts. It's really bothering me. Like 2 clips of audio on our station threw me to either side wildly emotionally yesterday afternoon, to a point where I'm just like, why am I being yelled at for wanting to be practical here? Like, do we not know? Like, I guess this is just my time to be the bad guy on this. Like, our situation is not great. Like, the Robert Mays on, what's his podcast? We found Emery Hunt, who loves what the Browns did in free agency. What did Robert Mays do on his podcast, the Athletic Football Podcast, I think it is?
He said he thought we took a step back in free agency.
He thought we took a step back in free agency.
The Athletic Football Show.
How a 5-win team that spends that much money in free agency on the offensive line could take a step back. Not saying that Robert Mays is wrong, saying that, well, there's definitely people out there who don't like what we did, and there's definitely always going to be people who don't like what we did. So that's a scary scenario. So I throw this out and I go, guys, it's not about leadership of cults. It's not about being blinded by my fandom of his father. It's about what this situation is and how I've tried to say this the entire time, and I think a lot of people have, I thought a lot of people responded to it and understood, where it's like, I don't want to go any further into Hawk based on guys that I'm not passionate about. So I got 1 or 2 things I guess I got to ask you today, because I'm a man without a country here, Tone. Do I need to I need people to give me a passionate, strong argument about Ty Simpson. I'm going to play some Cynthia Freeland for everybody, but if you really want him, I'm going to need a passionate, strong argument to talk me into this situation.
Well, you're not going to get it from me,
okay.
So you got to find somebody else.
And then on the other side, I need a passionate, strong argument, even though I've laid out so much evidence in the NFL. If we were talking Cavs, NBA, different story. And even in Major League Baseball, it seems to be going in the right direction when it comes to that sort of stuff. But in the NFL, when it's been proven time and time and time again that just simply losing, and I'm going to use your words against you here, any idiot can tear a franchise down just by simply losing is going to make things better. I don't want to do that either. I just look at the natural order of things and go, guys, we're still not going to be that good regardless. If he finds a way to raise the stakes of the Cleveland Browns, then you found your quarterback. If he doesn't, which not a lot of us think that he can and not a lot of us think that he will, then we march on to 2027. I don't understand why that is such a controversial thing to say. I don't get it.
It's not. What is the big deal?
I'm being told I'm afraid to take risks. And I go, I'm not afraid to take risks. I don't trust the people taking the risks if we're going to take those risks.
Well, give me a risk. What would be a risk? Give me one.
Well, let's hear Cynthia Freeland here, because I consider this a risk. This is on Afternoon Drive. Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network, knows all the ins and outs and what have yous on the Browns maybe taking a QB high.
And if you're looking at prediction markets, which they can be wrong, but prediction markets sometimes they've been right. Often they've been right. And they seem to think that the Browns will be drafting a quarterback very high that will start this year. So if you want a piece of hope, perhaps prediction markets is a source of hope for that. I think when you're looking at the opportunity to, as the rest of the AFC North resets, it would be a great time to bring a new quarterback in. And I would be pretty sure everyone that works for the Browns front office is looking for that person. I don't know if they have it in mind yet or not, but I don't know. I think you're going to get your wish, if I had to, just based on some things that I saw at the Combine and conversations that I had.
I'm not blaming her. I almost slammed the phone down when I watched that piece of audio yesterday online.
Why would that agitate you so much?
You can hear more of that interview, 923thefan.com.
For those just watching, maybe the first day on the show, we have 2 very different bars on what agitates us. I just listen to that and I say, yeah. I mean, they would like to upgrade their quarterback room. That would not be the way that I would want to upgrade the quarterback room.
So you should be agitated, shouldn't you?
But they also,
why wouldn't you be agitated?
Well, you got to think about it the way anybody outside of Cleveland would be looking at it too. is we had arguably the worst quarterback room last year, and most people around the league don't think, a fifth-round pick from last year's draft is going to turn it around. So you've got to every year take as many stabs as you can to try to improve it.
Now, didn't Sam Howell start a year for the Washington Commanders, and then that bridged them over to Jaden Daniels? I'm not up on my Commanders' history. Meredith isn't here. She would know better than me. I'm not up on my Commanders' history. I thought that's the way it went. Like Sam Howell, I thought was a fifth-round pick, and then I think they wanted him to start a season. I got to go back and look at that right off the top of my head. I'm not sure if I'm correct about that. Like, it's not, but to me, I don't think it's not happened before. My issue is that if you take that guy, like, you have to invest in that guy, and I don't want to invest in him. I don't think it's worth it for him. I don't think it's worth it for us.
Are you talking about the investment in just the pick, or what else? Because you're trying to build around any of the quarterbacks.
I'm talking about a quarterback with the number 6 pick. Is that not what she's stating here?
Yeah,
very high pick here with the quarterback position.
Obviously, I would not endorse that decision, and I don't think there are many in the football world that would believe that.
So shouldn't you be trying to use your microphone to talk people out of this idea?
I don't think it's an idea that the Browns would even explore. I think they go to the combine and they make it seem like they could be in on everybody. I mean, look at the reporting that comes out every year about the Browns. It's I could be in on this guy. They could be on that guy. They could be on that.
But you don't feel
it's 10 different alternatives every single year.
You don't feel it necessary to use your voice to make sure that they don't run into this mistake. To do whatever you can to make sure, to voice your opinion.
I don't think it's in
your emotions.
I don't think it's within the realm
of
possibilities. That Simpson at 6.
You didn't think it was within the realm of possibilities until a month before a couple of weeks before the draft that they would take Baker Mayfield number 1 overall. You remember the meeting we had? We sat in Andy Roth's office. I go, Anthony, they're talking about taking him number 1 over. You go, no, that's just impossible. No, and they took him number 1 overall. Now, even though they told me different.
Now, different. Obviously, different organization.
Yeah, clearly. Same owners, but clearly different organization.
There's nothing, when it comes to Simpson, it's so few starts. It's so little size. I know he's got the same frame as, one of the quarterbacks we have right now.
Which one?
In Shedeur.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought Shedeur was 6'2" or 6'3".
I think they're kind of comp similar.
Regardless. Okay, go ahead.
But either way, neither of them are weight room legends. We'll just put it that way.
But
so this would not make sense. He's never had a grade. Like to have a grade to where the Browns are, like it's never been in the same stratosphere.
But my other issue is, and I don't have a lot of time, but I want to hit this. This is John Fana yesterday afternoon on and I love John, and I can't believe we would talk about such a thing, but here's John on the possibilities of tanking.
I think the tanking is something that I'm okay with it. It's the reality of the situation. Do I want it? Does anyone root for it? No, I'm not rooting for it. I want to win football games.
Doesn't sound like a John.
Don't let him distract you, John. Don't let him distract you.
So you're okay with 7 wins?
I'm okay with trying to win as many games as possible every single year.
And, John, I'm on your side.
That sounds like a breath of fresh air.
I didn't say that I want to tank.
It sounds like you want to tank.
No, I don't want to tank. I want Shedeur Sanders to be the Browns quarterback. I want him to work out. Like I want this kid to be our franchise quarterback for the next 15 years. The job is yours, kid. Nobody's out to get you. Nobody's against you. You showed us some flashes. Go and get it. Like, I want this kid to pan out. All of Cleveland, we're praying. I'm going to go to church on Sunday saying, Saint Shedeur, help me. Be the answer. I don't want to draft another quarterback. Like, I want this kid to work out because it would be amazing. I'm rooting for it. Do I think it's going to happen? There's so much evidence that says it won't in Cleveland, but man, Nick, I hope like hell it does. And if he is solid, this football team will be out to win games. This football team will be in an AFC North race because I don't think the AFC North is going to be that great. I really don't.
And immediately Nick starts saying, it's like, well, you sound like you're advocating for tanking. When you say you don't mind tanking, then that's how that sounds.
It was just good to hear somebody finally hang him over the fence and say, I want the Browns to win as many games as humanly possible every year.
You know who John sounds like?
No, I'm talking about Nick.
No, sorry. But you know what John sounds like.
Yeah.
He's hemming and hawing, and honestly, I hate to say it, it sounds like me at times. Where it's like, well, Kenny, you don't want to upgrade the position. I go, well, I don't think that there's a real upgrade out there that's going to be paying off for our future here. And I go, why does it have to be one extreme or the other? That's why I'm so agitated about it yesterday afternoon. That's why I'm a bit agitated about it now. Because I'm going, my God, like when you've left this team to make tremendous mistakes, this is why I'm like, I don't want to start a fight with you, even though I think we are going to. 10 times out of 10, when left to their own devices, they seem to have made a mistake.
Yeah, but they've made the mistake.
You're saying, well,
they've made the mistake every which way.
But when you're saying that common sense will prevail and we just won't take Ty Simpson in the top 10, I go, I don't know, buddy. I got plenty of evidence that tells you that is very much in the mix when left to their own devices that they would do something like that. And to me, it's just it just smacks of obviously desperation, but obviously another one of these primrose paths that lead nowhere. And I'm going, man.
I mean, are they just trying to, it sounds like they're just telling everybody everything. They're trying to bait teams to trade up to number 6, which is what every team is trying to do.
But why? Well,
nobody wants to trade up.
Cynthia Freeland just pays attention to prediction markets. I mean, she does lines and things like that.
Sure,
so I don't know. She's not being told things by the Browns.
Those prediction markets are also heavily built on a lot of the rumors that could be out there. And if the Browns are at the combine telling everybody everything, it just sounds to me like they're hoping to trade out of 6. And I think they're not alone. I think other teams are definitely trying to trade down as well.
You say that, but it's the most desperate team for a quarterback that I think that we've ever seen in NFL history. It's the most. Everybody's desperate for a quarterback. This is to a different level. And I hate to say it because Ty Simpson seems like a nice enough young man. Like I'm not going to sit there and say nasty personal things about him. He's a coach's son. Seems to check all the boxes when
His
it
dad
comes
knows
to
Monken very well.
All the stuff there about it's not like this is Bo Callahan's birthday party or something silly like that. Like I'm not going to say nasty things about him personally, but I just think that this is a tremendous landmine that we have to avoid. And if that means going out there and grinding it out for another season and having to deal with it so we get to something that we can prosper with, or if Shedeur Sanders ends up surprising a lot of people and becoming that guy, that would be great too. But I'm much more interested in being practical and having some common sense. I don't know why it has to be one extreme or the other. And that's what I heard yesterday.
Well, it's because of this draft coming up. That's why. The very next draft, I should say. That the quarterbacks in that draft are driving that kind of thought. It's the same thing happening in the NBA right now. It's why I have 10 teams trying to lose every game. It's because being in the middle would stink if you believe any of the draft evaluations.
216-474-0092. Well, does it have to be the QB or does it have to be tanking? Can I live somewhere in the middle just for 1 year? For 1 year, can I live somewhere in the middle of this?
This year is the one everybody around the NFL is telling you that would be a really bad year to do it.
I want to ask them. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
You dread dealing with your insurance more than getting stuck in an elevator with an overshare.
Bean burrito for lunch.
You have Insuranoia. You should have NJM. They go to great lengths to do what's best for their policyholders. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
St. Patty's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. 92.3 The Fan.
I think I know why I'm being so head in the sand about the Cavs. I think I just realized this because of this week and everything else that's going on and everything. I got to tell you, maybe I am just being too sunny about the Cavs because I'm gripping for anything positive here. Because I don't like being negative, man. I don't like being a downer. I don't like being a person that bags on everything. This sucks.
I'm kind of surprised, start to the show. This is a day that people have circled on their calendar years advance. We have people
he's going to bait me into it, isn't he?
Staying downtown.
Yeah, that's what he's going to do.
Over at the arcade. The place is already jammed. I saw so many coolers on my way in. People getting ready for the revel and merriment to get excited. We can't even play the music anymore. We used to play all the beds coming back, all the
I'm sure we could.
Dropkick Murphys
you can always do it once. It's just going to hurt us at the end. I mean, he could if Owen wanted to, he could throw caution to the wind.
Can find some royalty-free.
Royalty-free?
It's just going to get us in a lot of trouble. Come on, can we call the Cleveland police and get them to lease us the bagpipe music for today? Can something get me in a better mood today? I'm serious because I'm in a bad mood, and I told Lima, and Lima just wanted to set me up for it because he knows what I'm going to do. I'm looking up at the TV. We always got local news on. We have a rotation of local news that we put on, and they're out and about, and it's the corned beef and the sandwiches and all the other stuff, and I'm going, it's sacrilegious to say this, I understand. Should I even say it?
Go ahead.
Part of me is just like, can you guys just move this day to Friday? Because, listen, I'm Irish, but I'm from Canton, and when I was in Canton, there's not a big thing. Like, I think people go to Harmon's or something like that, and that's like it. It's not a big thing. I went to Akron, not a huge thing. I lived in Youngstown, not the biggest thing in the world. It's not low, but it's not a big thing. Here, it's going to be a madhouse today. And I'm just looking up going,
despite how cold it is and the weather, it's not going to matter.
All this stuff I got to do today. And I got people wearing green, and it's just going to be constantly in my way as I try to fight my way through traffic to actually establish. You know what I feel like? I feel like when Barney drew the egg on The Simpsons and he had to be the DD, like that's how I feel today. And that's how it's been every single St. Patrick's Day. As a person who comes from Irish descent, I've never really been able to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And the one day I decided to let my hair down, we had the worst show we've ever had. Easily the worst radio show I've ever done with you the next day after the St. Patrick's Day that you and I celebrated. I was so excited to go out with Tone. It was finally, I'd always worked. I'd always had something to do. Finally, I'm going to let my hair down, go nuts. You want to load up. You want to party. We're out. We're downtown. We're having a good time. And then the next day was the worst radio show we've ever done, to a point where it was like a come to Jesus moment with our bosses. And I'm thinking, this holiday has just never matched up for me. And everybody else is having a good time. Like, I texted my barber, can I get a haircut? Ken, you know what day Tuesday is. That's right, I forgot, so I can't do that. And I got all these other things I got to do, and I'm just like, you just had it on like a Friday.
I mean, obviously I'm not Irish, but this has been a huge party day, and I know it's kind of amateur hour to some, but it was the universal cut day. All the Catholic schools either excused absences or they're out, or professional development day for the teachers.
I won't even say that. You know why? Because I look up at the TV and I see 65-year-old people that are down with this day. They're not amateurs.
I'd say there are amateurs down here for sure.
There are amateurs, but I don't see...
They don't make it to the parade at 1 o'clock.
When I was at Akron, all I saw was amateurs because I was in college. When I was anywhere else, all I saw was amateurs. There's pros here. There's people who are going to be boozed up later on this morning. And then on Friday at the fish fry, they're going to be boozed up later on Friday. Like it's part of their culture. And that I'm fine with. It's just, man, it's my fault. Should have known what I was doing. But, man, this sucks because I'm in a bad mood because of that. I'm in a bad mood because of what the Browns may do. I'm in a bad mood because I'm being told I'm afraid. Oh, you're afraid to take a quarterback. No, I'm not afraid to take a quarterback. I'm trying to do the responsible thing. You don't go out and play the lottery to try to pay your mortgage off. You try to do the responsible thing. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I just, gosh, you just sound like such a killjoy and such a Buzz Killington. This sucks. Sorry. So maybe that's why I'm sticking my head in the sand when it comes to the Cavs. More on them coming up later. 216-474-0092. Can you put me in a good mood?
You want me to put you in a good mood with the Cavs?
Owen. No, anything. You, Owen, John, Jeff, anybody.
Engelheimer Schmidt.
This is not the way to start your day.
I don't know. I can't believe you came in like this. I don't know what fired you up to this extent.
Damn it.
It's not like the Browns' lot in life, dramatically changed overnight or anything like that. Is it just that you're kind of seeing that either the hopes are all in on Shedeur, or that you think they're going to make a terrible spur of the moment rash decision in the draft for a quarterback none of us want?
See, you're so confident that they won't, and I'm going, you're crazy, because they've done that. They've had rash spur of the moment decisions on the most important position in football. And I'm afraid they're going to do that coming up. So I'm not going to go after the messenger. Cynthia Freeland's just going by the prediction markets, right? But when she goes on Afternoon Drive and she says the following, it tends to get my panties in a bunch.
And if you're looking at prediction markets, which they can be wrong, but prediction markets sometimes they've been right. Often they've been right. And they seem to think that the Browns will be drafting a quarterback very high that will start this year. So if you want a piece of hope, perhaps prediction markets is a source of hope for that. I think when you're looking at the opportunity to, as the rest of the AFC North resets, it would be a great time to bring a new quarterback in. And I would be pretty sure everyone that works for the Browns front office is looking for that person. I don't know if they have it in mind yet or not, but I don't know. I think you're going to get your wish, if I had to, just based on some things that I saw at the Combine and conversations that I had.
So that's Cynthia Freeland right there. And I think some people's eyes perk up, and I'm going, guys, and it's so tough because when we don't want a player out of the draft, we start to say nasty things about him. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to sit there and say nasty. I'd like Ty Simpson to come on the show because I'm going to go, Ty, tell me why you love the Browns. Tell me why you really love Todd Monken. Tell me why I should get rid of 27 years of history that tells me that you're not the number one QB in the draft. We have to be honest with each other here. Fernando Mendoza is the number one QB in the draft. So if everybody's telling me it's a one QB draft, Ty, I got to ask tough questions. Why should the Browns go to you with only 15 starts? Why should the Browns go to you where you got banged up 3 separate times in the SEC, which is that in the Big Ten as close to the NFL as you're probably going to get?
They say he was playing
in college football.
After the injuries, everything he was playing at 185 in the
how do you
bowl game.
Exactly. How do you respond to, we're going to start the season off nice and easy, and then I give you all the different scenarios that makes you play maybe before you're quote-unquote ready? I want to know that. Sell me. I would love to feel much better about it. I'd love to do a 180 and stand here and pound the table and say, go take them. We're going to – because, guys, my life would be a lot easier. Our lives would be a lot easier. If Ty Simpson was bona fide at 6 overall or bona fide in the top 5 and you guys wanted to make a move, fine. We get out of this mess even sooner. But he's not, and – because I'm willing to say, hey, let's be practical here for another year. I mean, I'm being told, what, you want to tank? No. Naturally, I don't think they're going to be very good, and I don't like wasting more of Myles Garrett's time or our time with Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, but sometimes, you just have to make it through this. This is what it is. There's nothing that's going to bail us out except for another year to hopefully see whatever either Shedeur can do, Deshaun can do, or whatever QB's in the draft coming up. 216-474-0092. So let me get to Stephen in Cleveland. Stephen, make me feel better. You put me in a good mood. Come on.
Well, let me just say this. I got 2 takes on
All right.
I think that the best case scenario would be to go ahead and just ride with Shedeur, because the second take is that if you look at college football right now, there's not one quarterback out there that I have seen that I think is capable of coming in on day one and drastically improving your football team. If we take that risk, then we might as well get ready to start rebuilding. That's just
okay.
I don't see no, even Mendoza. But achieved as he was in college, I still don't think he comes to the Super Brown and just drastically improves the football team.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, we have to keep a close eye on him in Las Vegas because I think I think that they bolstered their offensive line. Tyler Linderbaum's a legitimate player, but I think that they're in a situation much like us where they're looking for a lot of talent there. Go ahead there, Stefan.
But Ty Simpson, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I would say if you wasn't going to go into free agency and get somebody, just ride with Shador. If you're not really that confident about even putting Deshaun back out there, which I'm not either. I would make it a competition. I would add Dylan Gabriel to the conversation again.
Well, Stefan, I do got to run. I mean, I see where you're coming from. The Dylan Gabriel, I think it's probably best for everybody if we all separate. For Dylan, for us, for everybody, it just seemed to be a non-fit from the beginning. But I think we'll find out because they're going to use him as currency, so they're probably going to try to get some sort of draft pick out of him, whether it be a 6th or a 7th or anything they possibly can coming up in training camp. Like I would imagine maybe they draft another quarterback at some point. And you have the whole, we got 4 quarterbacks going into camp, but there might be a change because I don't think he just likes cutting quarterbacks, Andrew Berry. My issue is that for everything that I have said that I don't want to do, the Browns have followed that to a T. They didn't make a big play on Malik Willis. They didn't make a big play on Kyler Murray or any one of these other guys. So it would seem like they're willing to go into this year just with Shador and Deshaun Watson and let this year ride it out. But when you get to a point where you have a guy who you could draft, who could maybe turn it around, that starts to entice people. And when you're faced with the reality of the season coming up, and then you're possibly given a taste of what hope can look like, it changes a lot of people's opinions. And every day we get closer to April 24th, or 23rd, I should say, I think that emotion's going to change. And when I hear those interviews, I think it changes big time. 216-474-0092. I want to get to some of you guys as well as I hate hearing it. I hate playing it for you, but I think a lot of you folks agree with him. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima will tell you who he is coming up here in about 10 minutes on The Fan.
Hey, guys, it's Jonathan.
materials, and special financing. Call 855, the letter U, the letter R, GENIUS. See website for details.
The NFL Draft is just 6 weeks away. Hear all the latest rumors on the Browns' first-round picks right here.
The Cleveland Browns select.
This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan.
Hell yeah! Finally, something to get excited about. All right.
Was this from the movie Sinners?
I'm in a good mood now.
This did not win the Oscar for Best Original.
You haven't seen Sinners,
no,
right?
my boss over at Fox 8's like, you got to see it, Kenny.
It is. It's an experience. It definitely is. But there is some song and dance in this vampire movie, and one of them is definitely a tip of the cap to old Irish tradition.
Remember the movie The Leprechaun?
I have seen that.
That's what you just reminded me of, The Leprechaun.
Yeah.
I haven't. I just remember Mike Myers saying, I am the leprechaun a bunch of times in a different movie.
Such a good, it's a good movie. All right, I'll watch Sinners at some point here. Now I'm in a good, thank you. Now I'm in a bit of a good mood here. Now I might just, you know what? Might just embrace the day. Well, depending on how I feel at 9:54 today, I might say, you know what, PJ, you take care of it. I'm getting 3 sheets to the breeze later. We'll see you. Maybe I should just do it. Maybe I should just let my hair down again and throw myself back into it and just go with the flow. Because I don't like starting off it's March. Why am I starting off the day in such a bad mood? Because I'm afraid that they're going to make crazy decisions. And I hate using that term because it's like, guys, I want to be talked into it. I don't want to sit here and be in purgatory for another year. So please, I'm serious. Like, let's get Ty Simpson on this station, on this show. Some way, somehow. I want to talk to that young man. Because you know me, I'm an easy pigeon, man. You talk to me for a moment, and I always be like, and Lima knows this, there will be people in I'll say it, there's people in Cleveland media who people are like, that guy's a jerk. And I go, yeah, but he's only been nice to me. He's always been nice to me, so I can't say nothing bad about the guy. I mean, you know that. And I'm like, I can't. They're like, Kenny, what about this? I go, yeah, I didn't work here at that time, so I can't. That sounds bad, but he hasn't treated me that way. And so if anybody's nice to me, it's like, well, I'll probably end up being nice back.
How do you feel about headlines like this? Ty Simpson would love to play for family friend Todd Monken in Cleveland.
Sounds nice.
Family friend.
But as we highlighted to John on Friday.
Is he compromised? Is Monken too compromised now?
No, if anybody could get anything good out of him, or I shouldn't say it like that. If anybody can get the best out of him, maybe it would be Todd Monken. Not anything good. The anticipatory throw. I mean, he does got some really nice throws there on tape. 216-474-0092. I wanted to get to the Nick Wilson clip. Do we want to get to the Nick Wilson clip here?
I heard it yesterday. I heard it live.
So, Nick, I should take umbrage with this, except I do think a lot of you guys are going to agree with Nick on this. Go right on ahead.
If Boston ends up overtaking Detroit, and they've been trying to play this thing for the 4 seed the entire time, and they overplay their hand, that will be devastating for them. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That would be a second-round exit, is what that would end up being.
Yeah, and that'd still be a massive failure.
It'd still be better. It'd still be better than what you had with Darius Garland.
No, it's not. No, because you're in the same spot.
Darius is giving you that.
Did you not get bounced out in the second round of the playoffs each and every time?
That's the point, though. I don't understand why it's so anti the James Harden deal when you were stuck.
Because it's supposed to get you over the hump.
But Darius wasn't going to get you over the hump anyway.
God bless it.
He wasn't going to do it.
This is exactly why I do lump you in with Ken and Lima and all the other people that just want to be good vibes only with the Cavs.
I don't see what's the problem.
Because there's a very real conversation.
They made a real trade
and failed.
They made a real trade. They haven't failed yet. We're not even into the postseason.
No, but the point is,
we're not even there yet.
You're the guy that's saying the amount, we got to judge them based off what they've done. Well, in the last 14, 15 games together, how have they played?
You judge them off the playoffs. So how are you sitting here trying to judge them when all you do is say the regular season doesn't matter?
Don't do the flipping around thing.
What do you mean? I've given you all sorts of answers.
And all the real things.
How many more answers can I give you in a segment?
All the real concerns about the Cavs, you parry away.
What do you mean I carry away? I just talked about their defense to Orlando and their Magic. Defense, yes, the injuries matter, and how this team looks with Jared Allen on the court and not does make a difference in this conversation. But when I bring up 2 different games and spot off an idea that I think actually could matter in this team long term, how is that just letting them go? Like, there's obvious flaws within this team. There was more flaws with this team with Darius than there is now, but there's still flaws with this team. I can't sit back and say that all of a sudden, because they made a trade because they knew it was going nowhere, that I think that's a disastrous thing to do. No, they had to do something.
Well, obviously, I totally agree with Jonathan, and Jonathan agrees with us, right? Is that obvious? To say it's failed already, I think, is absolutely balderdash. However, I think a lot of people agree with Nick. I think a lot of people, going by the poll that you put up yesterday, or you had John Boy put up yesterday about the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think more people are willing to agree with Nick than what they're willing to say to us on the air.
See, it's funny.
It's tough when you and I agree with each other on something and then the callers get in. It's tough to go with both of us.
We thought
you and I agree on this.
We thought they were DOA with Garland. And with Harden, I thought they had more of a shot.
Yes.
Now Tatum coming back to the Celtics has kind of changed, I think, some of the calculus. Unfortunately, in the East, it doesn't look as wide open as it did. It seems like everybody is just throwing more and more money on the Celtics to represent the Eastern Conference. And I understand that because they still have less holes than we have now. We still have a deficiency at certain positions, at wing, athleticism, length. We don't have those things over a team like Boston, who's also won a championship with at least some of their pieces and parts. But I will say this, Nick was hemming and hawing when they were 14-2 going, what have you proven? And now they're losing games, and Nick's like, well, now they're playing crappy. There is some hater in the house when it comes to Nick right now. I mean, let's be honest. He wasn't going to give him credit for 14-2, and now he's crushing them for losing games here in March.
But
when there are all sorts of good teams that lose games in March,
I think
so. You basically have to admit, there was nothing that was going to win him over. They could have gone 30-0 at the end of the season, and Nick would have been like, well, wake me up when they do something in March.
I totally agree.
In April, I should say. And we're a month away from the playoffs starting, and that's fine. This was always going to be about the playoffs. But you can't not give them credit for being the best team over a month and a half stretch in the NBA, which they were right there. It was If it wasn't them, it was Oklahoma City, whatever. You can't, or even Boston at points of that. You can't say that stuff doesn't matter and then lose your mind because they lost a terrible game to Dallas when they had just beat them by 35, 2 days before.
So I know Anthony and I agree with each other on this, and Jonathan agrees with us. It's 3-on-1 when it comes to the two shows. If you agree with Nick, I'm not going to run you. I'm not going to go crazy. I want to know why, because I think a lot more people agree with it. Judging by the poll that we ran yesterday, a lot of people voted on. You can't tell me not a lot of people agree with Nick. A lot of people agree with Nick.
Yeah, they do.
So they're not willing to say it to us. So I have to extend an olive branch and go, why are we – I want to know. I'll give you 5 minutes to think it out. Why are we digging our heads in the sand? Why are Lima and me – and I'll throw Peterlin in there. He's not here to defend himself or to advocate for himself. I'll throw Peterlin in there. Why are we putting our heads in the sand? Why are we doing it? Why are we denying the truth, quote unquote, about this Cleveland Cavaliers basketball team? 216-474-0092. Channing Frye, we'll get the truth out of him coming up at 9 o'clock. Cavalier world champion in 2016. Channing Frye going to join us on the show at 9. Ryan Wilson on if the Browns drafted Ty Simpson. What does Ryan say about that at 8:20 on The Fan?
It's Anthony Lima for
year, Andrew Berry gave Kevin Stefanski and the coaching staff more options than even that. I wouldn't close the book on them acquiring someone else, whether it's through the draft, a trade, free agency, whatever.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Well, do you agree with Nick? Are we denying the truth? Are Tone and I denying the truth? I put it out to everybody. I think it's easier when one side agrees with the disagrees with the other. When you and I agree with each other on something, it's very, very difficult. I will have to say it's very difficult. And Nick is like a one-man wrecking crew here. I haven't heard a lot of Baskin Phelps on their opinion on it.
But yeah, to be fair, he's been consistent. He had no interest in the Cavs when they were 14-2, and they had all the metrics that were off the charts. So he's just doubting them.
He didn't come around. Usually he comes around and, we get the flip-flops out and we're headed to the beach. But
now, again, the Knicks fans are the exact same way right now, and the Pistons fans are the exact same way. None of these teams are like all completely bought in, but I still think the Cavs, they have a shot. The best plan of attack here is to avoid the Boston Celtics as long as you can, right?
Yes. I think a lot of this is going to end up being, I think the last 14 games, a lot of it's going to end up being by design. I think you guys are going to be, what was the game that they had their positioning and it was a fan appreciation night, last home game of the season, and they had like their positioning and they like didn't play anybody. Like maybe Jared Allen played like the first so he could start.
It was last year, and Jared Allen only played because Jared Allen hit his Ironman mark. That was he started all 82 games.
God, it feels like it was 14 years ago.
Wait a second. I thought it was when they ended up. Was it the Knicks when they ended up on the path to playing the Knicks, and it's like you wanted them, you got them, and you lost? I'm getting them all mixed up because obviously they have flameouts
too. But Jared was the only one that played last year because Jared got his 82 games.
Well, you see us debating that. Those flameouts are why Nick feels the way he feels.
Well, I get that, but that's also why they traded Darius Garland. That's why they made the move. That's what Jonathan was saying.
I totally agree with Jonathan. I mean, we all three of us are in agreement with each other. It was a move that had to be made.
They had finally, as an organization, determined the core four had zero staying power, had zero chance at a playoff run. And so, I don't know. Nick seemed to agree. He just said now that he wishes they would have traded Darius earlier. Okay, I was on board too. I obviously was using this mic saying that I didn't think Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland.
What were we going to get better for Darius?
Well, I think you did trade him at his lowest. You did end up trading him at his lowest value. That's why you ended up with James Harden and you didn't end up with a Trey Murphy or.
But you ended up
Michael Porter Jr.
Okay, that's great, and we could do that in hindsight.
So you couldn't fix your wing position, which is what Anthony, they still are lacking big time going into the postseason.
I know, but I defend Kobe Altman taking all this time to do so because first off, you still got an 11-time All-Star and a former MVP. Now, I know he's long in the tooth there, but obviously he's a much more durable player than what you have with Darius Garland. The other part of that is that who really wanted to give up on Darius Garland during those times? Okay, there was you, but that was basically it.
Nobody.
There was not a lot of people who wanted to do it because remember, Steph Curry himself compared Darius Garland to himself. Okay, when I'm getting Steph Curry comparisons from Steph Curry about Darius Garland, it's like, no, I don't want to move on from that.
Yeah, when Darius is totally on and healthy, I've said he's poor man Steph Curry.
But over the last couple of years, things have clearly changed. And because over the last couple of years, things have clearly changed, it has to be clear, well, again, what are you going to get? So then we started banging our heads because it's like, well, we need wings. Who you want to trade? Darius? Okay, who's going to trade a wing for Darius? So you end up getting another guard, but a better guard with James Harden. So I'll deal with it. So I think it's a step closer, and I still stand by what I said before about where I think this team can go. I do think, though, that Nick speaks for a lot of people who don't want to speak for themselves because they know that you and I are going to want to gang up on him. Guilty as charged. It's the way it works. Sorry. But you know that there's not a lot of people who want to speak up for it, and Nick will, where they are doing the old Owen thing. Like, Owen's in now, but there are plenty of people that are like, great, you traded for a guy, and all they hear about is they don't pay attention to the former MVP stuff. And the MVP was in 2018, right? So that is ancient history for them. They've heard of losing basketball, unfulfilled expectations, strip clubs, all the other things that you made fun of James Harden for, now he's our player. And
as if during that time he wasn't a top 5 player in the NBA.
But they don't know that.
But it's just it's funny. It's funny to me the way people talk about Harden, and it is totally. I used the term hater earlier to describe Nick, and by the way, it takes one to know one because I've certainly been there.
One of the king haters
with certain teams in town, so I know when you put a team in a no-win position.
Yes, you're one of the king haters.
And so obviously that's where the Cavs are with Nick when they roll off all those wins and they're at the top of the NBA in offense and defense. Wake me up when the playoffs start. Well, the playoffs still haven't started yet, and now they're losing games, and Nick's like, wow, what a joke. It's like, well, you told us that it wasn't about the playoffs. But what I'm saying is James Harden, and I have hated his game. I've hated aesthetically watching his game when he was the heliocentric James Harden, foul baiting, just step back three. You guys notice he's not doing that right now, right? He's not foul baiting. He's not doing the hey, it's just a one-man wrecking crew. The ball's going to be in my hands at all times. Like, you guys realize that's not him. It's an evolved version of James Harden that's getting everybody involved. And you've seen his LeBron James-like passing. That's what it's been since he's been in Cleveland. His usage rate's actually below where Darius's is. So the ball's in his hands less than it was in Darius's hands, and he's getting his teammates involved. And when he plays with Jared Allen, he's made Jared Allen look like a top 5 big man in the NBA.
Yes, he has.
So they're missing Jared Allen now, which is cause for concern. Absolutely.
Well, it was a knee knock at first, and now he's out for at least the next 3 games, according to the Cavs release last night.
It's going to be now 8 games.
So what happened?
I don't know.
That's a pretty damn serious knee knock there. By the way, heliocentric. Neil deGrasse Lima over here. I didn't know what it meant.
Oh, it basically
astronomy.
It was identifying, an era of the NBA which was unwatchable for me, where ball's in one guy's hands, everybody space out, and then just let him go to work. Now, the reason teams did that, Daryl Morey with James Harden, is because he was so sensational at doing it. Few guys in the history of the game have had the skill, the footwork, the ability to hit threes while guys are all over him, like James Harden. I don't like what that ended up not only doing to his game, but what it also did to like the youth of America in basketball, because it created a bunch of wannabes and copycats. But has James Harden done that? Has he been that since you've seen him?
So you're a hater. You just hated Darius Garland more than James Harden is what you're admitting.
I hated Harden when he was doing that stuff, but I never wavered on this guy's impossible to guard.
Listen, I agree with you, and I think we feel the same way. I think Nick is wrong. I think that you and me and Jonathan all agree that Nick is wrong. But the great silent majority out there agree with Nick. And they're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
So I guess my question for those people...
They think the long game is they're going to be right, judged by the Cavs' history. I don't agree with it, but they do.
Are those fans, do you think those fans are Guardian fans too? Do you think they're all pretty big
Cleveland fans? Yeah, they're all Cleveland
fans?
sports fans.
Why would you ever watch a regular season Guardian game then, if that's your approach? Like, wake me up when the playoffs start. Oh! Okay, what am I supposed to do all summer? Am I supposed to just... wake me up when the playoffs start? Does Nick do that with the Guardians?
I think that a lot of them do that. I think they watch the games,
and then
but
why
I think
would anybody ever watch the Browns ever with that mindset? Why would any of you care about football?
To me, it's a way to protect their feelings, Anthony.
Okay, so don't care about anything. Why is this just a Cavs thing?
Well,
is
I'm
my
not
question.
asking them to be nihilists.
Somebody's got to explain that to me. The Cavs, their move that they went out and made, much like at the same time the Browns made their move for Watson, their move has worked. Like, Donovan Mitchell's been amazing. He's been a top 10 player the whole time here. Probably better. Probably top 7. He was all-NBA first team last year.
He's easily the second best. Not easily, but he's the second best Cavalier to ever do it.
And he's an amazing playoff performer. In the playoffs, he takes his game to another level. That should be something you guys should absolutely love. So what is it about the Cavs that they are held to a different standard that it's, are they the favorites to win the title? No. Wake me up when the playoffs start.
Because
why don't you guys do that for the other teams in town?
I think a lot of them have seen. Well, I think some of it is that we take them for granted. I mean, it's been 20-something years. Yeah, I think so.
So Anthony, LeBron ruined it for the Cavs.
You're an older guy than some of the people that do. Like, you paid attention as a child. There were a lot of people who made fun of guys like you. I'm sorry, in my neighborhood, there were guys who made fun of guys like you for watching the Cavs with Andre Miller. Like, I made the joke about. I didn't even make a joke. I said, guys, like, I had to sit there and grab the remote away in the living room to watch the Cavs. And, like, when the Cavs went down by 20, it's like, give me the remote. We're done with this garbage. Like, my dad doesn't like the NBA. My dad doesn't care about the Cavs. and there was one TV in the house, and it's Andre Miller, and I'm 13 years old, I'm going to watch Andre Miller. So you and I become defensive over it as kids, but I'm just saying this. I think a lot of people, they don't remember old, terrible Cavs basketball. And LeBron set a standard that I don't know if anybody can really attain.
No.
So then they just always wait for it. And when you're told over time, when you lose those series, real quick, when you lose those series, then when you're told terrible things about your team using the S word, yeah, it's not going to go over well.
So it is because the Cavs have been by far in this town the best combination of playoffs / regular season. They've been by far the best. I mean, the Browns aren't even in the discussion. They don't ever make the playoffs.
You're right.
And the Guardians, while they make the playoffs, it's just so stacked against them. We all know that they're in an uphill battle, but maybe people just love baseball because they go out and it's great weather and it's a social event too. But because of that, now they have to win the championship or nobody's having fun with the Cavs. Because obviously when I go to Cavs games, that's not the case. The Cavs atmosphere is one of the best, top 5 in the NBA.
When you're giving up, I think
so
what you're getting.
So who are the people, the hating people?
I think what you're getting.
That hold them to a different standard than the other teams in town.
Well, you and I are going to be the first ones to say, like, hey, guys, they don't just hand out championships. I think what you're getting is a standard set that if the Browns would have had any success with Deshaun Watson at quarterback, but they wouldn't have gotten over the hump, I think a lot of people would be very critical of that. Now, obviously, they come with a different set of circumstances, clearly with the 2 trades that were for 3 first-round picks, but I think this is what you're dealing with. You're dealing with expectations that rise, and when they're not meeting those expectations, people are going to protect their feelings and say that they just don't take them seriously. And so you get what Nick said yesterday. And what he's been saying for the last couple of weeks. Coming up at 8:20, Ryan Wilson going to join us on the show. Are we getting footballed out as a country? One person on the Fan says yes. All that, and I'm not afraid of anything. I got to be practical. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on that free Odyssey app. Today is Tuesday.
in Milwaukee, taking on the Bucks. Tonight's contest begins a 3-game road trip for the Cavs. They will be shorthanded. Jared Allen going to miss the entire trip. Continues to deal with tendonitis in his right knee. Don't miss this week's episode of 92.3 The Fan's off-season special. Get the latest on the Browns tonight from 7 to 9. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I see you're wearing your green.
I swear to God, that had nothing to do with St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
I reached in and I was looking. I'm like, I haven't worn this in a while. I think maybe it did have something to do with it that just kind of seeped in because my wife has a conference call at 4 o'clock today.
Of course.
We got invited, and I don't get invited to anything anymore because it's just a no every time. But 3 different parties on the west side, on the near west side, like casually hanging out, like starting at 1 o'clock today. Not to mention that I know somebody that has one of the suites over here at not the Galleria. What do you call it down here?
I don't know.
The arcade.
And
which is just
that's
berserk.
When people are you got to go.
There's no, I can't this year.
Why?
And I've got to go home and watch kids.
What's she going to do? She's going to leave you?
She's got to work. So I think
horrible advice.
I think her,
but it's true, is it not?
I think her job did a conference call at 4 o'clock today intentionally, even though they're nationwide, but
keep people from
from playing hooky, and so I'm screwed. So there will be no St. Patrick's Day.
But the parade doesn't last that long. You can play hooky and be back by 4.
I'm dead serious about that. What's she going to do? She's not going to leave you unless you do something terrible during it.
Somebody's got to physically watch the kids.
Right now.
Bring the kids.
Bring them to these parties?
Whatever.
I don't think there's any kids at 2 of them.
At the one in the arcade,
don't
you get
ever
to see
listen
Cleveland
to the
history.
advice of what's she going to do, leave you. Don't do that.
How's that bad
Stop
advice?
saying that on the air.
Bringing them would be zero fun.
If he kept doing it day after
bad.
You know, I can't let them out of my sights.
If he kept doing it day after, Liz and I do this with each other all the time.
Anthony, don't go home for a week. What's she going to do? Leave
No,
you?
that I wouldn't
Anthony,
condone.
screw around on your wife. What's she going to do?
No, I wouldn't condone
Don't
that.
call my old contacts
Now,
that I have
hold
under
on.
fake names on my phone. Lima, what's the big deal?
There's a line
Anthony,
here.
murder 14 people. What's she going to do? Leave you?
No.
That's what that sounds like.
No,
Ken.
it's not. Well, if you let me explain, there's a line to everything
There's
here.
nothing to explain.
But if she buys, it seems we got a new system for coffee in the house every 6 months. Okay, if she goes out there,
Ken throws so many of the pots at people.
I don't know. I don't throw anything at anybody.
You got to smash them.
Guys, I would never throw a stapler or a bottle of water at anybody. It's one of the greatest lies that have ever been told in the history of this radio station.
In this studio.
You think I'd still be standing here? You think I wouldn't have had a black eye on the air if I'd have thrown a stapler at you? Thank you very much. If I did a grown man thing, actually that would be pretty childish. If I threw a stapler at you, I think you'd hit me like a grown man. See, he quiets down because he knows he'd sock me in the face if I did something like that. I would never do anything like that.
If it contacted me, Ken, that's how it would end, yes.
Even if it was in your general direction.
It was in my general
It was not. It was on the other side of the room. Anyway, there's a line to everything. And so if Liz goes and spends, what's the price of a decent coffee maker? $100?
Yeah.
Okay. So if she spends whatever, I just assume, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Am I going to leave her? What's really going to happen? Am I going to, honestly, she wants another dog. That'd be 2 dogs and 3 sons in the house. And I'm like, no. But I tell people all the time, I go, she came home with another dog. What am I going to do? Am I going to file divorce papers? Nope. I would hope that we can
I think this is
share
a little
this
different.
together.
I think blatantly not going home to watch your children while your wife works
Couple
is
hours.
a little different than her showing up with a new 5-pound puppy.
And then I'm just operating at a deficit for the next month.
Yeah.
Because it's
Don't put yourself
never
behind
not going to be mentioned. And so do I want to deal with that?
Naturally make it up.
And
it's not a month, Anthony. We're talking about the rest of your life. You will be 80.
Well, not to mention,
and she will go, oh, yeah, where are you going now? To the St. Patty's Day parade?
Well, and I got to go to Dayton again for the second straight weekend. And
okay.
It's just all adding up.
Okay, that's different. Okay, fine. I take it back. I forgot he was going to Dayton again. Okay, I take it back.
And she thinks, even though
you're going to start dating again, what's she going to do? Leave you?
You don't even want to know the connections I have down in that part of the state. But then it's like,
I'm sure they're very sexy.
You have a hotel room on the road, and I'm like, yeah, and I have.
Wait, she wants you to stay in your car?
I'm literally doing data entry every day, putting these sheets together for these high school teams that I haven't seen all year, and she thinks I'm just having a rave down in Dayton, Ohio.
Of course. Yeah, I guess I forgot about the trip to Dayton. Don't take my advice on that. Yeah, go home. I take it back. I forgot about the Dayton thing. If he didn't have any Dayton thing coming up, I'm go ahead.
No, it's still bad advice.
It's not the worst advice I've ever given him.
Correct.
Thank you. Certainly not the worst. Hold on here.
Just because it's not the worst you've ever given doesn't mean it's bad.
Thomas and Shaker, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
All right, hold on. I know you wanted to talk about the Cavs. I'm going to ask you about something else. When I told Lima, what's she going to do? She going to leave you? Scale of 1 to 10, how bad advice was that?
Well, I'm with you. I didn't know the Dayton thing either because I was thinking to myself, how are you going to not go to that 1 o'clock party at the Lima?
At the arcade.
Yeah,
when he's supposed to be home watching the kids, Thomas?
I'd bring the kids.
Well, remember, he did leave OU. Like, who leaves OU at the age of what? How do you leave Akron, Ohio? Like, come on.
Thomas is with me to a degree.
I always came back and visited. It was always a good time.
Okay, go ahead there, Thomas. What were you going to say?
Well, you said Dayton, I flipped. But, okay, so anyway, Cavs. On the Cavs subject, I'm also somebody who grew up, I was born in 94, so I grew up in the LeBron era. So, for me, the standard – I enjoy Cavs regular season games. I love Cavs. I love going to the game, the atmosphere, and everything about it. And I pay attention to every single game. But still, it's championship or bust, or at least conference finals or bust every single year because the Cavs spend the most money on their team, and they've been winning my entire life. Like I feel so bad for Browns fan. I'm a Browns fan too, but I feel so bad. The best highlight of Browns fans in the last 60 years is the 80s Browns who never made it to the Super Bowl. The Cavs been to 5 NBA Finals. That's the 5th of the NBA Finals in the last 25 years. How can you not love the Cavs? It's championship or bust for me for Cavs.
Can I say something else though, Thomas? Because this plays. How old are you? You sound like we're the same age almost.
No, I'm 30. I'm 32.
Oh, gosh. Okay, you sound a little bit deeper then. Okay, I'm 39, so I'm a bit older than you, right? Okay, so this is where I'm at with this. Now, obviously, you've listened to this show for some time. You know that this show is pro-LeBron.
Yeah.
I do want to see them go to the finals without LeBron just so I know it can be done. Because there is a little – as he gets ready to close his career and maybe close his career, I have had these moments of what happens afterwards. Because you ask Kenny Rhoda, and so Kenny Rhoda swears that he saved basketball in Cleveland. LeBron did. Mm-hmm. And that sounds nuts to us now because I think basketball, and Terry Pluto might disagree historically, but that sounds nuts to us now. But I grew up listening to Kenny. I think Kenny might have had some valid points there. Like, I think basketball works here. LeBron made it a big thing. I think he made him hold. And Thomas, thank you for the call. I think he made us hold our standards higher for everybody else. That includes the Browns, as much as people roll their eyes about it. But it's not a disrespect to LeBron. I just want to make sure it can happen. That's all I want. I think I like where the NBA is going. I just want to see him do it without the player of the generation, without an icon. Just to prove that it can be done, because I think it's a very scary thing if we just keep knocking our heads against the wall. And so when Nick talks the way he talks, I'm like, well, what the hell else am I supposed to do about basketball in the city of Cleveland?
Well, the standards should be high. They are high. And, if they get bounced in the first round, heads are going to roll. Dan Gilbert is spending the most money on this team than anybody else. But this is why they made the Darius trade. Because they added the pressure. They were like, hey, we know there's pressure. We're throwing even more because we just went, 9-10 years older in going and getting James Harden. But that's how much we didn't believe in the core four to begin with. And they had a lot of belief in that core four. For them to move on from Darius was a huge deal. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Darius's injuries, his body type, and just his play once physicality ratchets up in the postseason, it became untenable. That they had to make the move. But this is some dangerous walking on eggshells territory. There's no doubt. Standards should be big. I just don't understand using the Dallas game down the stretch like the season's over, as if I can't point to all the other good teams in the league over the last 20 years having one rough night like that.
Because it was a bad loss against a bad team.
Sure.
And they basically, but the reasoning why I wasn't freaking out yesterday, and the only reason I'm getting any bit animated about it is because of what I heard yesterday after we were off the air, because it seemed like people just wanted to get in and start ripping him after we were off the air because somebody agreed with him. Because, again, I think Nick speaks for them. He doesn't speak for me. He doesn't speak for you or Jonathan. But I think he speaks for a very quiet majority out there. And my frustration with it is like, guys, I just can't see them rolling out the basketballs and walking around. And frankly, coming off downright lazy in the postseason. I can't see them doing it. Like, they might be outgunned. They might be out-assed. They might be, dare I say, even outfought. But I don't think they're going to be lazy. I don't think they're going to walk around on defense. I don't think they're going to give up uncontested threes and not crash the boards and not do what's necessary to do in the postseason. Of anything, that would be the most shocking thing ever, because playoff teams don't do it. Even lousy sub 500, which nobody's under 500 right now, but lousy sub 500 teams in the NBA playoffs have done that before. They crash. They throw to the block. They do whatever they do well, they're going to try to do it as best they possibly can. So to me, that game, to you, to everybody, it should be. That game against Dallas should be an anomaly. That's what it should be. I wanted to bring this up to you because we got about last night coming up at 7:45, and we dodged a bullet with an all-time Cleveland icon. Also, Ryan Wilson's coming up at 8, so we got a lot to go with Channing Frye at 9 o'clock. So things are going to be packed here. Let me ask you this. The NFL is thinking about a Thanksgiving Eve game. That's one Thanksgiving Eve game. Once they're thinking about it, it means they're probably going to do it. Mm-hmm. 9 times out of 10, it means they're doing it.
Oh, it's 10 out of 10. They're doing it.
Thanksgiving Eve, 3 on Thanksgiving, Black Friday. Yeah. That's 5 games over Thanksgiving weekend before Sunday. Mm-hmm. Before Sunday. My first thought is always, actually, it isn't like that anymore. My first thought used to be, well, you're gonna water it down. And I go, no, you're not going to water down anything. People watch the NFL whenever it's on, and especially around the holidays, because, and this kind of goes with what I was saying, like, what's she going to do? Is she going to leave you? I think that people like to have football on in the background because it just gives you something to talk about that isn't about your personal lives, isn't about your personal histories, and isn't about politics with your family at a gathering, at a family gathering.
You just said something, though, that I think they should be alarmed about. Football's not supposed to be baseball or even basketball. It's not just supposed to be on in the background. But the more days, especially around the holidays, that it's just background noise, then you're losing what's special about football. And you're right, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be a situation where that's it, they added one more game, I'm done with football. That never happening. The ratings will be massive. This will get another $1 billion for their contract that all the teams will disperse evenly, and then the cap will go up another $20 million every team every year. But over time, especially when you add an 18th game, and then we're inventing holidays, the NFL will probably invent 2 more holidays that whoever's the president will probably invoke, and then that's another day to make another $1 billion and disperse it evenly among the teams, and the cap will go up another $20 million. I'm just saying, like, someone like me who doesn't gamble on every game, it's going to become more and more background noise. I think the NFL's already lost something that was pretty special. Being on national television for an NFL team doesn't mean anything anymore. Every team's on national TV.
I think it's actually kind of a pain in the ass. We had that one year, what was it, 2019, where we had a bunch of games in prime time, and by the end of the year, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe we have to play this Monday night game.
Yeah, and it's not going to be as must-see as the NFL has always been, which is what has made the NFL special. So yeah, they'll make more money. The ratings will certainly carry the day. All these games are still going to be the top 100 televised events of the year in cable and over-the-air TV, whatever. That's all going to be true, and the NFL will make more money, and the valuations will continue to go up. But I like to think of myself as a pretty big NFL fan. I'm not diehard, but I'm still a pretty big NFL fan. These games, every time you do this, become more and more less see TV. And I think that's dangerous ground for the NFL over time. It's not going to hit them overnight, but 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, I think we're going to be looking back at decisions like this and saying, oh, maybe Mark Cuban was right. Maybe pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered.
You know what? You actually hit the valid point of it, because my thought was, okay, if the Browns still play on a Thanksgiving Eve game, we're in. If the Browns still play on a Thanksgiving Day game or Black Friday, whatever, you're in, you're excited, you're emotional during it. Say the Browns are good, you're really emotional during it. But I think you just hit on something. Like, I saw a photo. I'm going to say this quick. I saw a photo of the World Baseball Classic game last night, and the place was packed, and some people were like, this is what happens when you charge decent prices and it's not to the 1%. And you see what's going on around the NFL, and us as well, guilty as charged. You see what's going on here. You take something that people are passionate about and you make it a thing that goes on around a gathering for a certain group of people that loses its passion over time. That is true, where they have to walk a fine line over the next decade of how do you still keep people involved? How do you still keep them emotionally involved? Still try to draw income from them? and still have that product that people want to still see, even if it isn't their team? Because that's a hell of a point you just brought up there. 216-474-0092. Ryan Wilson joining us at 8 o'clock. If the Browns drafted Ty Simpson, I want to play that Cynthia Freeland audio for him coming up at 8. If the Browns took Ty Simpson, how the hell would he respond to that? And we dodged a bullet last night with an all-time Cleveland icon. It's coming up in about last night with the great John on The Fan.
sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Got some updates from Arizona from spring training for the Guardians.
Perfect time for a spring training report brought to you by Northeast Ohio Fence and Deck and Quinn Legal Associates. Go ahead, John.
Well, Jose Ramirez avoided a disaster. He jammed his shoulder sliding into third base on Sunday. He was day-to-day. But Stephen Vogt, he says he's going to be fine.
No, just testing it and seeing how he felt come in with the improvement. Don't plan on right now doing that.
So he's going to avoid the MRI.
I'm sorry, John. Who just said that?
Stephen Vogt.
Okay, never mind. You thought so too, didn't you, Owen? Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Wait, I need to know what's happening.
Sounded like you said Stephen Vogt.
Vogt?
I thought he said Vogue.
Stephen Vogt. The G is silent, right?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, we all looked at each other. Go ahead,
anyway,
John. I'm sorry.
Anyway, so now your superstar is going to be fine for the season, hopefully. But there's a guy that's not going to be on the roster that I'm pretty unhappy about. Travis Bazzana, he is getting sent back down to the minor leagues. He did not hit well in AAA last year. He did not really hit well across the WBC in spring training this year. But here is what Stephen Vogt had to say about Bazzana's time with the Guardians.
Every time out, I get more and more impressed. You see more of his game. The base running, the defense. We know he can hit. Just seemed like every time Travis was out there, we got to see a new element of his game. And just like I told him, go play, go stay ready. We know this kid's going to help us a ton and win a lot of games. But again, needs to go play and get everyday at-bats and continue to develop.
Okay, my first reaction was to get really, really mad that he wasn't going to be on the 25-man roster. And then I go, well, who really cares? Because the opening day roster for this organization, I mean, at one point, I thought they had a completely different postseason year. They had a completely different starting nine at the end of the year than what they had at the beginning of the year with opening day. It never looks like that. I can understand it to certain degrees. I know that the Chiefs crowd is going to be out there. I'm sure there's something with control and time, and I'm sure with a lockout coming up in 2026, I'm sure there's part of it, but it probably is for the best there.
Yeah, it stinks. It's what I hate about baseball, that you got to wait for these guys to come up, and that even though they've gotten a little bit better, more progressive in having young guys play earlier, it sucks to start a season knowing that the best up and coming players don't get to start the season. Could you imagine that ever happening in the NBA? Like you draft a guy number 1 overall or even in the first round and they're not on the roster to start the season?
This one especially sucks because it's not like he wasn't an 18-year-old. He played college baseball.
Yeah.
He's 23.
That's a good point.
He's been around for a while. He played professional baseball in Australia and then came to America to play college baseball. He's done a lot of seasoning.
And the other thing is, so you think he should be on the opening day roster?
I'm not sure there. I agree with you there. The way that baseball works and the grind that it is, there are going to be a lot of veterans on this team that end up getting DFA'd in the middle of,
happens every year with this team.
The middle of May, that they helped you get through the first 50 games just to get
the Guardians always have
through that
this
point.
Is like preseason,
yes.
But it counts.
It is countless time. Coco Chris has been on the roster 3 or 4 times just to get us to certain points in the year.
I agree with you. I think, though, that what's going to be annoying is that, I've already seen, I'm just going to put a name because I know that you've written this at one point, Mike Axisa from CBS, who, they're starting to throw the B word around, which I think is incredibly premature.
Wow.
Hunting?
Incredibly premature. And I think that that's annoying for a Guardians fan because at least you want to see whether or not he's the number 1 pick for a reason or he ends up being in the gaggle of guys that were first-round picks that didn't end up being and not ended up working out for the Cleveland Guardians / Indians. I think that you want to see that because, again, there's going to be some people who write some things that probably aren't going to be very nice if he's not called up sooner than later.
Well, Jared Allen, he's been out. Segue to Cavs here. Jared Allen's injury has been huge. He did not play in Dallas this week. He's not going to go on the road trip with the Cavs. But here's what Chris Fedor had to say about the injury on the midday show yesterday.
Yeah, I think it is. And it's strange to me that Kenny Atkinson has said from the very beginning it's not a long-term thing. But the thing that he has not done is say what he views as a long-term thing and a short-term thing. He hasn't quantified that. And I think this kind of injury that Jared is dealing with, from what I'm told, it's severe tendonitis. There's ambiguity attached to it, and that's going to make it annoying from a player standpoint and I think from a fan standpoint. because it truly is a day-to-day thing. It's how does his knee recover? How does his knee respond to the time off and to the treatment? But how do you know it's pretty serious? Jarrett missed a game in Dallas. Jarrett doesn't miss games in Dallas.
Yeah.
Jarrett loves playing in Dallas. That's his hometown. And there was one game that the Cavs were going to Dallas this year. One. And he couldn't play in it. I talked to him a little bit before the game just about this injury. And he did say that he was feeling better and he felt like his knee was making progress. But there's a lot of wear and tear. And severe tendonitis is not something where you just snap your finger and you say, all right, I'm good enough to play.
How far can they get without him?
Well, two things. One, if you're watching on YouTube Live, for absolutely free, 92.3 The Fan on YouTube Live, you might have saw me chuckling there because there's a lot of people who thought that you said Stephen Vogt's name wrong. I just checked the mentions, and holy wow, there's a lot of people who thought that. So that made me laugh. Second of all, that's very concerning because you mentioned it earlier in the show. James Harden has already made Jarrett Allen better. And if you don't have Jarrett Allen inside, that's going to be even more on Evan Mobley. Is Evan ready to answer that test?
The answer is no. He's not ready. He's not ready. And the numbers have been up. I saw StatMuse. People put it up there. The Cavs 17-19 without Jarrett Allen the last 4 seasons. But with him, they are 187-91. It's a 67% clip. And, you know, they have shown that they're just fine without Evan Mobley this year. That doesn't mean he's not valuable or whatever. But they're not fine without Jarrett Allen. So we had that poll up yesterday. That how are they, you know, are they closer to a championship or what, winning the Eastern Conference?
Getting out of the first round, yeah.
Or getting out of the first round, losing in the first round. Without Jarrett Allen, I'm a little bit nervous to answer that question. And he's fallen short, too. You know, that was the guy, Mr. The lights maybe are a little too bright, so he became the poster boy for that. But I think his game has come into has reached a new level. So if he's either banged up or can't go in some of the playoff games,
we're going to do the shots thing
everything
all over again. You remember that whole controversy with the shots and the whatnot.
What, with the vaccine?
No, the cortisone.
Oh, okay. I was nervous. I didn't know where this was going. Like Kyrie all of a sudden entered the equation.
Put the safety on for crying out loud.
I didn't know where he was going.
Listen, I know it's a 3-day week for you. I got to answer that.
I know where you're going at 10:05.
It's straight to a meeting, and I ain't going to be in it.
That's all we got.
Outstanding as always, John. Really well done.
Yeah,
how do you say that manager's last name?
Vode. Stephen Vode.
He's saying it wrong.
Stephen Vode.
It's Vote.
Vote. Yeah, that's why I said Vode.
No, you said
you're putting a D on the end
You
of
said
it.
Vode.
Stephen Vode.
No, you're not saying it right.
He's messing with us. There's
also,
no way.
it's Travis Bazana, not Bazana.
See, now that one I didn't know.
Well, he hasn't played in a major league game yet. I don't blame you for that one.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Vode.
Stephen Vogt.
Not good.
Stephen Vogt. Vote.
Vote.
Say it again.
Vote.
One more time.
Vote.
Okay, we got it. Don't be
Big
messing it up now,
million
son.
around here.
Coming up at 9 o'clock, 1 hour from now, Channing Frye, 2016 NBA champion. Is Channing panicking about the Cavaliers? Well, we'll see what he feels about with that Jarrett Allen injury that's continuing to make problems for them. And if the Browns take this guy at number 6 overall, well, if you listen to the beginning of the show, you know how I'm going to feel about it. What would Ryan Wilson say from CBS Sports? He'll answer that question in 5 minutes on The Fan. I have a question to ask you right now that I want you to answer to yourself right now. Do you like savings? Yeah. Do you like brand new furniture? Yeah. I'm
sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Economists believe that this Thursday and Friday are the 2 least productive workdays of the whole year. And we're doing our part. Get scores from every region during our exclusive 2020 reports. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
They're talking about more interesting trades. Oh, my God. Oh, boy. See, we should just get a wheel on quarterbacks and just stick it to the board, and that's the day we talk about that guy. We're not getting – until the draft's over, guys, it's just going to happen. It's just going to – I got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. Tone's got to deal with it. Tone's going to be one of the purveyors of it. I mean, that's the way it goes. So I want to ask Ryan Wilson about the draft, clearly. And Ryan Wilson joins us on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Right hotline. He's from CBS Sports NFL draft analyst, CBS Sports NFL writer, with the First Pick podcast. There's a lot of draft, but there's going to be an interesting trade that I have to ask him about coming up towards the end of this interview. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, good morning, guys. How you doing?
We're doing okay. I started off the show. I was in a bad mood. For a St. Patrick's Day, I'm just in a hellacious mood. Cynthia Freeland, she was just the bearer of bad news for me. I wasn't ripping her. But she was on Afternoon Drive yesterday. And the prediction markets, she follows the odds and all that stuff. And the prediction markets have the Browns taking a quarterback rather high in the NFL draft. And the only other quarterback I could think, unless the Raiders just give you Fernando Mendoza, which you're not going to do, is Ty Simpson. What if the Browns took Ty Simpson? What would your reaction be?
First question, 6 or 24?
Either.
You think it matters?
I don't know if it matters to me.
Maybe it does. Here's the thing. Ty Simpson's a good football player. The concern or the knock or the trepidation is that the second half of the season he struggled. And he struggled, we later found out, because he was banged up, and he was pretty banged up. And I talked to a couple of his teammates, and we talked to Ty as well at the Combine. And they said, number one, he's a great locker room guy. And these were one-on-one interviews, so, I mean, they could have just said nothing, I suppose. It wasn't like they felt obligated to. And he's incredibly tough. Because if you remember the first half of the season, he was slinging it to the point that we were having serious conversations about who might be quarterback one. And Fernando Mendoza had a good start to the season, but he wasn't lights out, and the team wasn't quite the Hoosiers team that it ended up being. We didn't know what they were going to turn into. Ty Simpson can ball out, and this is going to sound like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. If you go back to when this young man was coming out of college, and I'll make the reveal in a moment, so it sort of sets the suspense here, and then try to envision Ty Simpson as a better version of this player, better arm, better athlete. There's some Mac Jones in this game. You can't say it without laughing. But Mac played well last year, and he played well his rookie season before they thought a defensive coordinator would be in his best interest as a young quarterback in the NFL. And I think the issue with Ty is going to be 6'1". I think his arm's big enough. He would have the best arm of the quarterbacks the Browns drafted a year ago. And even though he only started 15 games, he's 23. He's played a lot of football. His dad's a coach. So I think there are a lot of positives to Ty Simpson. But at the end of the day, and you guys know this because you sit there and watch it every single year, fit matters. And if your organization doesn't have the infrastructure to support a young quarterback, put Patrick Mahomes in that team's going to stink. So I don't hate the idea of Ty Simpson. I just want to make sure that there's a plan in place to help Ty Simpson or whoever the QB is succeed on some level.
Do you believe that the Browns can help that young man?
Not as it's currently constituted.
You wanted to say no. Just say no. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. Defense is great. How about that?
Got that going for us.
All right, so
Yeah.
they didn't, Ryan, at least we hadn't heard of an offer or anything like that, or whether they got involved in the bidding war for Malik Willis. There's been no Anthony Richardson trade, but that's the rest of the league up to this point. Kyler Murray didn't seem very interested, or maybe that was mutual. So how big of a win was this for Shedeur Sanders, at least this preliminary period?
Yeah, absolutely for now. And I don't think, Todd Monken, I think, has just sort of not said much of anything in terms of what his plans are at quarterback. But I think no news is good news for Shedeur Sanders because if Todd is as grizzled and a veteran of coach as you could have. And I think he's going to be actually pretty good for what the Browns need and what this offense needs. But for the fact that he has been mum is probably good news Let me ask you guys, just on the outside looking in, is Dylan Gabriel a third-round pick? That's a wrap? Like, we're done with that?
I kind of feel that way. I mean, unless I kind of find it hard to believe he's even on the roster after they bring in a veteran or whatever they do to round out the room.
So it feels like I had heard at the time that Stefanski was high on Dylan, and that's why he went ahead of Shedeur, and then obviously everything that happened after that. It just seems to me, in retrospect, 10 months out, seems like a wasted pick of a third rounder, but, here we are.
I could have told you that 10 days in was a waste of a pick.
Come on. You be nice.
I love the guffaw from Ken, but I do think it's good for I do think it's good for Shedeur. He's got to play better, and I know it's incredibly divisive to talk about Shedeur not in glowing terms, but the reality is he could have played a lot better football. He had some moments that were good, and he had a lot of moments that weren't great. And again, you can say the people around him weren't great as well, and I think they've made some moves to fix the offensive line. They got to get a wide receiver. The running backs will be healthy. Those are all great things, but Shedeur has to elevate his game for the Browns to be taken seriously.
Ryan Wilson joining us from CBS Sports with the First Pick Podcast, NFL writer, NFL draft writer. Monroe Freeling is shooting up the board right now for a lot of folks. Is 6 too high?
Yes.
Why?
He's a good player, but I mean, if we're looking at the offensive tackles we've been talking about since August, and he's played just as many games as those guys have. He's, to me, first round, second round guy. That doesn't mean he won't go in the top 10, but if we're talking about these offensive linemen, I would take Spencer Fano or Caleb Loma, the two Utah guys. I would take Caden Proctor ahead of him, and then I have him in the same range as the right tackle from Arizona State, Max Iheanacho, and then Blake Miller, the right tackle from Clemson. Now, Monroe plays on the left side. So the other thing is this. Is DeJuan Jones, are we done with that? I know he's battled injuries. I know he's going into the final year of his rookie deal. But it feels like to me there are bigger needs at guard where they have currently Tevin Jenkins and wide receiver. Like if we're sitting there at 6 and the conversation is Carnell Tate or Monroe Freeling, I'm running up there to get Carnell Tate. Monroe Freeling may not even play his first year. Carnell Tate would be the wide receiver 1 the second his name is announced. So that is confusing to me because I've heard it elsewhere. Doesn't mean the Browns won't do it, but that's just my perspective given, I've seen all these guys going back to last summer.
Why is Carnell Tate better than Mekhi Lemon?
Different. They're not much different in terms of how I had them graded, but Mekhi's 5'11". He ran the 4.52. I do not care. He plays so much faster than that. He is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So he's going to be an inside-outside guy. He has return ability. He's incredibly tough. The thing I like about Carnell is that he's going to be 6'3", and he's going to win down the field consistently. And, one of the things Shedeur does well is he throws the ball deep. And if you give your wide receiver a chance to make a play on the ball, Carnell's coming down with it more times than not. Now, Mekhi is too, but the reality is it's one thing to whip up on, Big Ten cornerbacks, and then another thing to have to battle AFC North cornerbacks week in and week out. And I think you get that advantage with Carnell, who's obviously played in the same weather from Ohio State. But if you took Mekhi at 6, I'm not going to get angry about that. I would take Mekhi over Monroe Freeling as well there.
So you don't buy the normal strategy, or at least some of the preconceived notions that normally if you can't get your tackle early, like the drop-off is immense as compared with wide receivers where there doesn't seem to be all that big of a drop-off in most drafts.
No, that's fair, and I get that. And look, if you love Monroe Freeling at 6, I suppose you could take him. But I'll just circle back to the original question, Lima. If you traded for Titus Howard, and if DeJuan Jones is your left tackle, is Monroe Freeling, what's he doing next year?
No, it's fair. Totally fair question.
Yeah, true.
I mean, look, here, I'll say this. If you took Venga Ioane, the guard from Penn State at 6, that would make more sense to me than taking a tackle there, only because he's going to start on day 1. I'm not saying you should do that. Maybe trade up from 24 to 18 or whatever, if that's your prerogative. Mm-hmm. But I'm just trying to figure out where you're putting this guy. You need guys to play right away, and I suppose you could trade DeJuan Jones or have a plan for him. But if the plan is for him to play at least one more year and figure it out, I'm just curious why you would take a tackle.
Let me go. Let me circle back around here. Say you took Carnell Tate at number 6. Ty Simpson was still there, like 18, 19, 20, somewhere in there. Would you go and get him? If he was there at 24, would you take him? Does Carnell Tate a new offensive line, that defense, a new coach. Does it change everything for you with that one pick going into the back of the first round?
No, not for the Browns right now.
So no QB in the first round, too much of an investment. They're ready for 2027.
Yeah, and you guys talk about getting a tackle 24 when it's tackle 3 or 4 or 5. History says QBs not one typically struggle as well. A couple of years ago, that draft may be the exception, but we could argue that 3 of those quarterbacks taken in the top 12 have not worked out and may not work out. So it's a crapshoot, and I just would not, given the way, if we're the Rams, sure, we can roll the dice on because you don't need Ty Simpson to play right away. Because then it becomes all the pressure that Shador and Dillon had to face last year. All right, put him out there. Oh, my gosh, he's struggling. Oh, okay, we got to draft Archie Manning. And I would just rather avoid that, get 2 really good players who can play.
Do you have a thought when it comes to teams dealing with free agency or trades when you have to overhaul completely an offensive line? Like some numbers came out yesterday for one of their offensive linemen who's going to be 30, that they pushed the money forward. And, you're normally overpaying anyway in free agency and through trades. So how do you feel overall that they handled the offseason when it came to the offensive line?
I think Titus Howard is a great pick. I think, Ken, you and I talked about this, that he does not want to play guard, so he's the right tackle. Fine. I love it. I think Zion Johnson was inconsistent early on in Los Angeles. I think he had a good year last year, and he played left tackle at Boston College coming out, and he can play center as well, so he gives you that versatility. And Nelson Jenkins makes sense. I think what they did in free agency is a great start. And maybe they're not that far away because defensively we know how good they were a year ago, and we'll see what that looks like in a world with a new coaching staff that doesn't include Jim Schwartz. But I think if you get these 2 players right at 6 and 24 that maybe probably aren't quarterbacks, and then you can build around a young quarterback. Because we say it all the time, like Bo Nix isn't Patrick Mahomes. So Bo Nix is in a fantastic situation where you can win with Bo Nix, and that's the plan. And maybe the Browns aren't that far off because their defense is so good. And, like the offense in Denver isn't setting the world on fire. They can run the ball a little bit, not a lot. They dink and dunk their way down the field. And I think Todd Monken, you can accuse him of being too gruff at times, but I think he's really good at getting the most out of an offense, especially with a young, potentially athletic quarterback. We'll see how this works out in terms of who the actual quarterback is. But if it's Shador, he's not quite Bo Nix athletically, but he can move around a little bit.
So you and I agree, because I'm getting told I'm afraid to take a QB. I'm getting told that. I'm like, I'm not afraid of anything, guys. But I think there's a lot of people that just want to be entertained, and I think they have a trouble handling that. We have this legendary player on defense. We have another really good player on defense. I mean, we got a good defense. And I think it's an AFC championship game level defense. And we have this offense that's, I mean, you saw it over the last couple of years. It's one of the worst we've ever seen. And I think that, it feels like maybe some people are running out of time or they want to be entertained. And I'm just going, guys, like, this is the bed we've made. We're going to have to lay in this bed for at least a year. We got to get to 2027 when it comes to that quarterback. Or, maybe Shador surprises a lot of people and takes off as the quarterback of this football team. I think I'm being practical here. Why would I be wrong to say those things? Because it sounds like you agree with me.
No, I do agree with you. And if we want to look, there's no crime in taking a quarterback in, every draft if you want to, but you can't take one in the first round every year because you're basically starting over from square one because the expectation is that quarterback's going to play as a rookie, and then he's going to struggle, and then you got to have this. You're stuck in Groundhog Day having the same conversations. I think this team in the short term, maybe they're not that far away. Defensively, they're fine. We'll see what it looks like without Jim Schwartz there, and we can't control that. But what we can control is getting a wide receiver who can help this offense immediately and perhaps get an interior offensive lineman if that's the direction you want to go. 2 players who can play right away. You can draft a tackle and kick him inside for a year. You can draft a tackle and move on from DeJuan Jones. All those things, to me, seem in the better interest of the team in 2026 than taking Ty Simpson, who's going to have to make the transition to the NFL. And how often does a player go to a bad team and ball out? I suppose you could say C.J. Stroud did it in 2023, but they had a lot of other pieces around him. They made a lot of moves from 22 to 23 to get better. Jaden Daniels in 2024, same situation. They got a lot better over the course of that offseason. If you're convinced that the Browns have improved to that level, then go crazy and draft Ty Simpson. But it feels like, to me, the better choice would be to get two players that can play right away. I don't know Todd Monken's history with rookie quarterbacks either, and I haven't looked into it, and so I don't know if he's pro or con for that. But as an old school coach, I would imagine he wants the best players that can help right away.
All right, I got 60 seconds, less than. Kyler Murray's going to be the starter in Minnesota, I imagine. So what do we do with J.J. McCarthy? Leave him there? Could the Browns trade for him? Would you advise that?
No, leave him there. He needs to learn how to play the position. He's frantic and he's a hot mess, to put it kindly. So he needs to have the no pressure of being the backup and go from there. He can certainly turn his career around, but why would you trade for him? What's the plan after you trade for him?
Well, how could Justin Fields not get himself figured out with the Steelers? Oh gosh, you're disgusted, even disgusted by the question, Ryan.
He was so much better at Ohio State. He's the Benjamin Buttons of quarterbacks, and I can't explain it, and it drives me crazy because there's so much potential as that 10th overall pick. So it's crazy to me. Hopefully Andy Reid can unlock that because he has a chance to be really good, but we're in year 6 or 7 now.
Ryan Wilson, CBS on Twitter. He's on social media. He is the host of With the First Pick podcast with Rand Carthon, CBS Sports NFL writer, NFL draft writer Ryan Wilson. Ryan, thank you very much for the time, my friend.
Thank you, guys.
He's on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline. Another person on the Make It Right, Call Kyle Wright hotline, Channing Frye, 2016 NBA champion with your Cleveland Cavaliers. He's going to join us at 9. What ails this Cavaliers team, and can it be fixed before the playoffs? We're going to ask Channing that question coming up at 9 o'clock. And are some people accepting reality? Are they officially accepting reality after last week? To Ryan, it sounds like they are about this Browns team. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, live on The Fan.
And I know it's incredibly divisive to talk about Shedeur not glowing terms, but the reality is he could have played a lot better football. He had some moments that were good, and he had a lot of moments that weren't great. And again, you can say the people around him weren't great as well, and I think they've made some moves to fix the offensive line. They got to get a wide receiver. The running backs will be healthy. Those are all great things, but Shedeur has to elevate his game for the Browns to be taken seriously.
Ryan Wilson, CBS Sports. There was not a fight from us. I wonder, are people starting to – the stuff that Jason and I got into last week, that could be neither here nor there because there's things that I have conflicting reports on. We'll find out as time goes on, okay? But when it comes to just having to play better, are people accepting the reality here? Are they accepting the reality of the Browns? Are they accepting the reality of Shedeur? Because there have been some things that have been said that are just not true about Shedeur Sanders. Whether they be negative things like we discussed last week. I know you weren't here, but like we discussed last week. Or overwhelmingly untrue positive things that are easily disproven about how well he played in this last year. Like there was definitely some good and there was definitely some bad that he needed to go fix. And I don't think there's any coincidence here that he spent a lot of time in Cleveland and a lot of time in the building working on things and trying to get to know this coaching staff. And it's not some political campaign either. Yes, did he show up in the video with Todd Monken? Yes, he got him a porcelain horse. It's a different generation, guys. Young people do this. But I'd just be very surprised if he was just showing up in the building just to get some FaceTime and not actually getting some work in.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot of common sense to that. And I'm thinking, man, I don't know. It felt to me like a month ago if Ryan Wilson would have said he's got a lot of work to do, and everybody's then going, how dare him? And now it's like, well, yeah, he's got a lot of work to do.
I mean, I think most rational people, and even, by the way, there have been some Shedeur fans over the last few days. I've looked in the YouTube chat. They're like, all right, like we found some common ground. We're not going to agree probably on the body of work.
YouTube chat in weeks.
Yeah, but Shedeur, like Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, Tyler Shook, they all showed signs. All four of those quarterbacks showed signs. I do not think Dylan Gabriel, outside of one nice thread-the-needle touchdown pass, I do not think he showed a lot of signs. But I think all those quarterbacks showed signs. I think most quarterbacks, you give them enough starts, they're going to show signs, right? Riley Leonard had one good game, showed some signs. Quinn Ewers, all right, maybe some signs. But those are the four: Ward, Dart, Shook, and obviously Shedeur have all shown enough for their teams to roll them out there and give them more opportunities. Especially Cam Ward was number one overall. He's going to get more opportunities and a fifth rounder or whatever. I don't think Shedeur played nearly as well as those guys ahead of him. And it was dicey for Cam Ward for about half the season. Second half of the year, it definitely helped him. Maybe that happens with Shedeur. Maybe if Shedeur gets to that second half where he gets to show more games, because he only basically played a first half of the year. It just happened to be at the second half of the year. Maybe Shedeur gets more games and it slows down for him like I think it did for Cam Ward. But I can't say things that aren't true, and one of those would be, I can't say that Shedeur played as well as Jackson Dart. He didn't.
No.
I can't say he played as well as Tyler Shook.
Tyler Shook.
And I know, to me, all those situations were really bad. Some were different degrees of bad. And there's no doubt Shedeur had a terrible wide receiver room, terrible offensive line. Look, Jackson Dart's coach got fired, and his star wide receiver went down with an injury, and then his running back, who showed a lot of promise, went down with an injury. And he had to pick up the pieces there. All these situations are going to be bad for these rookie quarterbacks, almost 100% of the time. So just the varying degrees of bad. If Shedeur played as well as Jackson Dart did, I'd be much higher on him. He didn't. That's just a fact. But that doesn't mean it's over for Shedeur. He's going to get more starts. I'd be shocked if he didn't. And we'll see. We'll have a bigger body work. I don't think we're going to be sitting here 5 weeks in the year going Shedeur's, 32nd out of 32 in every metric. No. I think he's going to show some improvement. And the big question will be over the course of the year, will he show enough improvement to warrant giving him a chance to start the following year?
216-474-0092. I think that's
fair?
I think that's a fair thing. Another thing is, I haven't paid attention to the YouTube chat in a long time. Owen, John, if somebody can find something by the end of the hour,
they're talking about Slim Thug on YouTube.
The best fat joke on the YouTube chat. Yeah. The best fat joke you can make about me, Owen's going to read it on the air. Okay, so let the YouTube chat have it out. I haven't seen it in weeks. Hopefully you guys are all well. You can participate in the YouTube chat, 92.3 The Fan. It's absolutely free. Turn us on, turn us up, turn us loose, right there at your home or right there at your place of business. It doesn't matter. I know guys that work on cars down in Canton that put us up on the YouTube there in their garage. So if any of my buddies down in Canton want to get on the YouTube and make a fat joke about me or anything they want to, go right on ahead. Owen will read it, or somebody's going to read it before the end of the hour. No, I think what you're saying is honestly fair. But what it also does is exposes some harsh truths for some guys like me. I didn't want to go back, and this goes back to the draft stuff. I didn't want to go back and be like, fifth round. I hated that. I didn't think he should have been a fifth-round pick. But with the way things went, okay, definitely Tyler Shook is a surprise. Tyler Shook should have been late first, early second, like he was. Then if you just wanted to boil it down, I don't know how well Cam Ward played. I know that he had a lot of things stacked against him. He tended to get better as the year went on, but it was just so much.
It was really bad to start out.
And some of it, they fire the head coach. There's other heads that are rolling there. There was a lot of things that were just an ugly situation.
Organizational tumult.
Yes, or organizationally, a horrific spot. I'd have to go back and look at what Cam Ward did again. But I don't think that he should have been a day 3 type of guy, talking about Shedeur. So there's a lot of things that I thought that were unfair that we've carried into the offseason. But when we really break it down, like I bring a guy like Ryan on. I want to bring a guy like Ryan on because Ryan he's not a flamethrower. It is what it is. And what it is that this is a situation where you hear it. What you have left, you have veterans that don't want to be around you. You could have brought them in. They didn't want to be around you. You have guys that you don't really want to trade for. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to rip Basket and Phelps. I'm going to end up doing it by accident. I was thumbing through the internet, and I know people, they see our clips, and they go, you're spending 4 hours talking. Like, no, it's just 2 minutes talking about this. Whatever Joey picks to make a clip or Keith makes to pick a clip, that's the way it goes. But I saw them talking about that Anthony Richardson stuff again yesterday, and I'm going, good God, get me out of here.
Well, and this is the difference.
We're at the bottom of the barrel. J.J. McCarthy.
So I want to get to this. So people would say, well, what's the difference between Malik Willis or the Sam Darnold over the years or Baker Mayfield or Geno Smith? Those guys all had a chance to rehabilitate somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. They had a chance under a new direction, new head coach, new system, whatever, and then demonstrate it. And Malik Willis did that. Granted, very short amount of time. We'll see if that stands the test of time. Well, that hasn't happened with Anthony Richardson or J.J. McCarthy yet. So what sense does it... The Browns are not going to be the place right now, at least until proven otherwise, that Todd Monken is like that guy who can handle all of that. And he's got enough on his plate right now trying to determine whether or not Deshaun Watson's got anything left, whether or not they bring in another body. He's got enough on his plate. I can't then give him also, hey, take this moldable clay in Anthony Richardson and you be the saving grace. You be the pit stop. You be the McVay. You be the Shanahan. We're not ready for that yet. So that's why I would not advocate for J.J. McCarthy or for Anthony Richardson.
The reason I asked Ryan the question, there's some stuff online. Kyler Murray's going to end up in Minnesota, so he's going to start the season for the Vikings. J.J. McCarthy, would he be available? Should we advocate to trade for a J.J. McCarthy? Here's what Ryan said.
No, leave him there. He needs to learn how to play the position. He's frantic and he's a hot mess, to put it kindly. So, yeah, he needs to have the no pressure of being the backup and go from there. He can certainly turn his career around, but why would you trade for him? What's the plan after you trade for him?
See, I feel the exact same way. I'm not getting much. There is a part of it where, yes, I know what I've said about Shedeur and his dad and how much I've been a fan of his dad as a child. But there's also a approach to it that I'm not ready to make. I don't believe the Browns are ready to make any sort of investment in anybody that I don't feel passionately about. And the closest thing you have a chance to get me to feel passionate about somebody is somebody who's not realistic in a trade or somebody out of the you might have a crack. I'll admit this. I know I've been pretty anti-Ty Simpson. There's been a lot of things said about a guy like that mentally, leadership-wise, background-wise, where I'm like, I could see myself opening up my mind in the next month and a half. But I could also look at the Browns and they're right in the hairy eyeball and go, you guys have replaced 4/5 of your offensive line through free agency. I'm worried about that. You always play quarterbacks before they're ready. I'm worried about that. Like, there's things that I don't want to go and make that investment and then spike that investment because you're not in a position to cultivate it. Like, next year, say this goes well. Say you do take Carnell Tate at number 6 overall, which shouldn't be overlooked, mind you. Ryan brought that up. Say you take Carnell Tate at number 6 overall. Fine wide receiver, finally a legitimate number 1 wide receiver for your football team. Hopefully he would pay dividends or look really, really good with Shedeur Sanders. That's going to be a feather in his cap, right? You would have another year with Harold Fannin Jr. I think that there's going to be, it's a deep tight end class. Dane Brugler's talked about it. I think there's another one that you can go get, maybe in the mid-rounds that could possibly help you out. You should be in a better spot. I still think it's a deep offensive line class. I think that on Friday and Saturday, they should be thinking about offensive linemen to not have to start week 1 and to just bring along, and hopefully with George Warhop, it'll be in the right position. This could be in a better situation for a rookie next year. Or if Shedeur is able to raise this boat out of the water and get it floating again, I will absolutely entertain that.
No, he's just got to be.
I will absolutely entertain it.
He's got to be a lot better. He can't just be. He can't just be a little bit better. It can't just be, hey, his numbers are up. No, they have to be up by. And I'm not saying week 1. No. But by like week 6, if he's still starting and this thing isn't a total chaotic mess, then you need to see some real gains because we have real decision-making that needs to go on. You're kind of on the clock.
That's fair.
With what on paper is supposed to be a really talented, unique quarterback class coming in the draft.
Cavs fan favorite Channing Frye, 9 a.m., up in 5 minutes. Guys, if Archie Griffin can say yes to it, then this bust better be able to. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, that bust in 5 minutes on the Fan. Window Nation.
Legal Associates, only on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Catch the Fan Off-Season Special every Tuesday from 7 till 9 p.m. right here and on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I'm in a much better mood than what I was when I started this show.
Well, that's good.
I was in a sour mood. Bad mood. I was just thinking, man, I almost said yesterday, I thought about this yesterday. I go, if I go in tomorrow and I say this, I might have to wear it. I go, if they draft that guy, I might turn into one of them old Cleveland sports radio curmudgeons. I may lose part of my soul, the biggest part of my soul, and never get it back. Because guys, Ken's a homer. Yeah, I don't care. Whatever. I do not buy. I don't want to be so negative all the time. I don't want to be so nasty all the time.
Yeah, and the Browns put us in a tough spot where it's tough to be real positive, especially during the season. Yeah, it's almost impossible.
No kidding. This is how I felt. But now I feel better. Now I feel so much better. Matt Leinart, he's not feeling better. Matt Leinart, this is according to Pro Football Talk. This was sent to us this morning. USC asked me to unretire my jersey for a recruit. I said, absolutely not. Quote, when I was at USC, I got my number retired. He said on his Throwbacks podcast, you win the Heisman Trophy, automatic retired number, which is pretty cool, so our jerseys are hanging in the Coliseum on one side. USC approached him about unretiring the number when the top recruits have wanted to wear number 11. Leinart says he won't agree to it. Quote, there have been multiple times where people at USC have asked me to unretire my jersey for some 5-star prospect. You know what I told these guys straight up? I said, absolutely, he says the word, absolutely effing not. I'm never going to unretire my jersey for some random dude who, by the way, now could wear number 11 and transfer after a year. Now, I first thought of Archie Griffin. Now, Archie Griffin's jersey was not technically retired at the time, but the famous story is, because I remember when Andy Katzenmoyer first made his appearance, and it was like the first thing that, who was doing the game? Brent Musburger. It was like the first thing Musburger mentioned was like, I know that looks like number 45. And Ohio State fans, they asked Archie Griffin. Archie Griffin said yes. Now, that was more of a commitment in them days. I got to admit, and Matt Leinart is a bust. I hate to say it because I think he's a pretty good analyst on television. I got to tell you. Matt Leinart is a bust, and I use that word to get your attention. He does have a point here. Number 11 special. He might have been a bust in the NFL, but he's very popular in USC lore. Can't write the history of USC football without Matt Leinart. You had a commitment from him. Now, I'm sure he didn't. I know it was a different time, but I'm sure he didn't do everything. I'm sure everything wasn't above board, right? Right? Maybe he's got a point. Maybe Matt Leinart has a point. I didn't think about it that way. If you're giving up number 11, you got some 17-year-old kid who wants to wear my number. I got the trophy. The trophy's in my house. I sat and represented USC as best I could. That's my jersey up there. That's my number 11. You can't wear my number 11. Maybe he's not all the way off on that.
I have no problem with him saying this at all. And
I like the absolutely bleeping not part. I thought that was good.
And look, like in sports, like what are the Celtics and the Yankees, like eventually, there's going to be no numbers. If the Dodgers get every great player for the next 30 years, like it's not even going to work. We're not going to be able to have enough numbers anyway. So we're not going to be able to do this and continue retiring jerseys to begin with. I know like at Syracuse, the number 44, was held in such high honor. They stopped giving it out. Then I think back in like 2015, they were going to start giving it out again to the best running back or whatever because they had that famed tradition or whatever. But in this case, like Matt Leinart's exactly right. Like these players are just going to stay for a year. It tarnishes the legacy of that number, and retiring the number will mean nothing. It'll be flimsy if you continue to unretire it, give it to a kid. He stays 6 months, never goes to a class, is a total bust, doesn't win anything, and then leaves. Like, what's the point of this anyway? Then it won't even be that prestigious an honor.
There is, whether you like Matt Leinart or not, I think any program that has a jersey retired, I think there's a tremendous responsibility to wear that number. Now, personally, I would, if it were like a kid I coached or a kid you knew, you'd go, well, why don't you set out on your own path? Have your own, put number, I don't know what jerseys they have retired, so I like say you just wore number 31. We know who wore 32 there. If you wore number 31, you wanted 32, it's like, no, wear 30 or 31 or 33. Wear that jersey. And then you can get it retired if you want to stay there that long. Like, there is an argument to be made there. Yeah, I thought I was going to rip Matt Leinart up and down because Archie Griffin is maybe one of the nicest guys that you've ever ran across. I'm getting a text here right now. I thought they did. Hold on. Go ahead. You guys talk.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
If we knew what
yes, he was a nice guy. I concur. He was really good with us.
He was one of the nicest guys you ever met, and because he said yes to getting his jersey or giving his jersey to Andy Katzenmoyer, I thought, well, I mean, good God, you have a two-time winner right there. Of course, if he's willing to give his jersey number up, then maybe you give your jersey number up to another young guy. That's all I was thinking. Have they retired Joe Thomas's jersey?
No.
Have they retired his number?
Just the number. Just a snap total was put on the Wall of Fame.
Or whatever it is.
Or the Circle of Champions or the Rotunda
I think there's
the Pyramid of...
Yeah. What do they call it?
Well, I'm getting a lot of
the Circle of Trust.
People are ripping the Browns for not, and I think there's a personal reason for Joe to not retire 73.
Well, it's also football is a lot different than all the other sports, just for the amount of people that are on the roster.
Well, there's not a lot of numbers,
and the way that they have made it where certain numbers can only be. I looked. USC has 5 quarterback numbers retired. They aren't necessarily quarterbacks, but from the numbers 0 to 19, they have number 3 is Carson Palmer, number 5 Reggie Bush, number 11 Matt Leinart, number 12 Charles White, number 13 Caleb Williams. And that's so they've already cut themselves down. If you got 5 or 6 quarterbacks on the roster,
yeah,
you're looking for numbers.
You're running out of numbers. I think the other reason why I don't want to put words.
You're not going to get too many more numbers retired because of these guys moving, unless you start doing like Colorado did and retiring numbers for guys who played for 2 seasons.
Okay, you can't tell me they didn't put Colorado at a much different place than where they found it. I will defend that all day long. I'll defend it all day long. What was Colorado? You're a Big 12 guy.
Yeah.
What was Colorado football? You had one little period with Coach Mack of Colorado football.
In the 90s, they
for
were
a
pretty,
moment.
They were pretty badass.
National championship
early
title
2000s,
contender.
They were pretty good as well.
Badass football team. But they went 20 years where they were just out there on an island by themselves. And then he stepped in there and played well. Was a little bit over the top, a little bit premature.
Yeah, I think
maybe a little bit over the top
worth
and premature.
Retirement. We're getting off the subject.
Maybe over the top and premature. Maybe it was. But I'll defend it. I don't think they have the history where they can be choosy over there. I will say the NFL is psychotic about retiring numbers. They don't want you to retire numbers.
Some teams don't do it.
They fight as much as they can because they have the rules with it. The other thing is that I think Joe is pretty – I don't want to put words into his mouth. I think Joe's pretty sensitive to somebody else who wore number 73 as well.
Yeah.
I think that he doesn't want that.
It's a big-time name within the organization. He was a great player and even bigger with the organization afterwards.
So I think Joe is very cognizant of that. All right, coming up next, Channing Frye. Great Cavs player.
Retire his number.
Well, I was going to ask you, Toad, who deserved their jersey retired? Channing Frye or
who
Nate
doesn't
Thurman?
deserve it?
I still get pictures from people going to Cavs games with showing Nate Thurman's jersey being retired up there. Channing Frye, former Cavalier world champion, joins us on the show. Is he panicking about what the Cavs are doing right now? Is LeBron coming back? And could we be blaming the wrong person for their recent struggles? Channing Frye joins us in 5 minutes on The Fan.
I talk about all the testimonials for the
You're not getting very many big men like that just sitting around the league, you know?
Channing Frye joining us right now. You've been involved in significant trades before. Is it just too much to ask for the Cavs to infuse this many new players so late in the year? Because it's not just James Harden. It's Keon Ellis. It's Dennis Schroeder. Now they got Max Strus back into the fold. Because in NBA history, modern NBA history, Rasheed Wallace with the Pistons, Pau Gasol with the Lakers, was able to play for a championship. It just doesn't happen very often.
Right. No, I'm not giving you any excuse, dog. The people you just named, like Dennis Schroeder is a pro's pro. Well, what's he? He's not demanding 15 shots a game. You know what I'm saying? He's out there just to do what you ask him to do. I've heard great things about Dennis from almost every team he's been on about his professionalism. You're looking at James Harden. That might be the biggest thing. But at the end of the day, look what James Harden's effect had on Jared Allen that last month. He's going to make life wonderful for a lot of the bigs. It's just a matter of getting him to believe, and the ball doesn't need to be in his hands the whole time. But he is truly a amazing point guard when you let him just be a point guard. When he's not, as much as we joke about he said he is an offense, I mean, he actually is. I hate giving ASU guys any credit, but, for me, when you look at this, it's a matter of, who's going to sacrifice for the greater good, and that's what they really have to focus on.
Channing Frye joining us on the show. For Kenny Atkinson, what is the pressure now for him going into year 2, defending Coach of the Year? There have been some rumbles with some fans. What is the stakes for him?
Honestly, I don't think there is stakes. Chopping coaches is not the move now. You look at there's been a lot of turnover. There's been a lot of, moving pieces, and I think he's done a great job. You can't play for the players. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fact. You can't play for them. And so if he's asking them to do something that they can't do, then you may need to go find players that can do it. And that's just kind of the way it is. But I think Kenny Atkinson is a great coach, but switching coaches isn't going to make guys make shots or play defense, unless you want to go get a guy like Tibbs.
The Cavs have somebody who has been able to be a playoff riser, those guys that elevate their play in the playoffs, and that's Donovan Mitchell. But yet doesn't seem to get the credit for it despite the 40-point games and the 50-point playoff performances because his teams have not advanced past the second round of the playoffs. Just where would you put him when talking about the top guys in the league come playoff time?
I mean, put it this way. When I was playing, it's rare to have a guy where you go, this guy, one guy can win a series himself, right? There's only a handful of them. I don't know where I would put that. But at the same time, when you got a guy like Donovan Mitchell, do you just say let him score his points because at the end of the day, no one else is going to touch the ball? There's the catch-22. I believe in Donovan Mitchell. I also know that Donovan Mitchell-led teams don't go to where they need to go. And that's just kind of a fact. It's not a knock on him. This is just what I've seen in the past. So he may have to do less so his team can do more.
How do you get him to do that?
That's why you have James Harden. You have somebody he can trust with the basketball to make plays for others so that he's not like, you know what, I'm just going to score. I'm just going to score us to a win. You know what I'm saying? It'll be like, hey, James, I need you to operate the offense and make sure that Donovan is used correctly and that Jared Allen and Strus and everyone else feels involved in the offense. But I feel like over the years he's gotten better and better at that. So hopefully you would expect to see that turnover. He's playing with a MVP caliber all-star guard. And, regardless of what anybody thinks about James Harden in the playoffs, it still goes to the playoffs.
Well, not only that, we're talking to Channing Frye right now. James Harden is, I think, 7th of current players in playoff wins, and he's got 5 former Warriors or current Warriors ahead of him. In points, I think he's 3rd. Assists, he's 2nd. Yet he has this rap as some horrific playoff player. Is the truth somewhere in the middle, or what do you think of him in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think he's an amazing player, obviously a Hall of Famer, but you would say, hey, James Harden, when you're the focal point of an offense, at times when he was younger, there'd be games where it just looked like he was exhausted. And he was like, guys, give me some help. And I think this pairing, when you look at what James Harden brings to the game versus what Donovan Mitchell brings to the game, I think you're getting the best of both worlds where both guys are at right now. Now, obviously, James needs to lock in defensively, But if they're getting good shots and you guys can, in the Cavs, can set up their defense, they for sure can be pretty solid. They just need to be more physical. But that's why you bring in a Schroeder, Keon Ellis, and those guys to kind of offset that physicality from other teams.
Channing Frye, NBA champ, Road Trippin' podcast, has an event coming up here in Cleveland very soon. I know Lima's going to get into that here shortly. LeBron James, what's his future?
Shoot, I don't know, man. Listen, I think the dude he's kind of in a weird spot, me personally, because it's like no matter what he does in L.A., right, it's like they're number 3 in the Western Conference, and they've had their injuries, and everyone's like, well, we're so much better without him. And I'm like, but wait, would you not want him on your team going into the playoffs? Like, are y'all on drugs? Like, what, I think for me, there's other issues than your 41-year-old 1, 2, or 3 all-time greatest player. Like, let's be real. And they're a little, I don't want to say spoiled, but they're a little spoiled because you're going to need as much firepower as possible to compete with the, obviously the OKCs, the Denvers, the Minnesotas, right? The San Antonios now. So for me, I think if it was me, and I'm just saying this, if I'm Bron, I see how this season goes. And then if not, I see what happens in Cleveland. And if I'm done or if I'm ready to wrap it up, I have to go back home just for 1 year, just to see what it's like.
I heard Richard Jefferson speaking about the 2016 Cavaliers team on an ESPN broadcast. Yeah. And he was mentioning how, this Cavs team, they're known to be very nice, this, that, and the other. And then he was talking about how kind of nuts the 2016 team was. How I didn't know. I mean, there's guys like J.R. Smith. He's a fan favorite. Everybody knows he can get a little bit wild. How unhinged was the 2016 locker room?
JR was probably the softest. I wouldn't say softest. It's not the right word. JR was the biggest sweetheart on the team. The a-hole was Richard, Shump. I mean, I'm not, listen, I could be a pain at times. I could be a little crazy. But no, everyone just sees JR and his tattoos. JR's the golfer of the group.
Oh, my God.
Like a big dude. So if anyone's like, oh, man, JR is this crazy guy, you're like, who? No way. We had a bunch of psychopaths. You think a guy who eats Deli used to eat avocado toast every single day. You think he's not a psychopath? And I'm talking every single day, no matter if we were on the road or not. You don't think that, like, Kevin was a psychopath or Richard or any of these things? Dude, we had a team of psychos. We were like suburban psychos, but we're still psychos.
All right. Channing, we saw some history made in the NBA, modern-day scoring record, and of all people, it was Bam, which was just a shocker, I think, to most. Yeah. He was obviously sensational in the first quarter, the first half, and through 3 quarters, but what did you think of that night as a whole?
Man, listen, if you're going to let me get 62 in 3 quarters, I'm trying to run that number up. Okay, let's say you're at the casino and they say, "Oh, sir, we have this deal going on where you get a free token. How many tokens do you want?" Are you going to give them? I'm going to say $1 billion. I'm not going to say, "Oh, just give me $50." I'm going to say, "Give me $1 billion." So, when you're playing basketball, you got an opportunity like that, and a team is just laying there dead like a possum, right? I'm cooking them for 100 points. I don't care how I got to get it, right? And the thing is, I watched every single point. Yeah, did it get weird in the fourth quarter? He already had 70 points by the time it got weird. So for me, dude, that first quarter was amazing, and they weren't putting up no resistance. Congratulations to Bam. Congratulations to Miami. And obviously, that's not at all who was on other people's bingo board for who would score 80, more or less 60. But listen, when you're playing the Wizards, anything is possible, as KG says.
We got some news yesterday about Board of Governors meeting to vote on 32 NBA teams. Obviously, there's 32 NFL, 32 NHL. So curious from your standpoint, as you monitor the skill level of the players today, it seems like every day new guys I've never heard of can score 30 in an NBA game and have all the dribble moves and all the elite range to shoot from. Do you think the league can support 32 teams and all the players?
Without a doubt. Have you seen Oklahoma City? Did you see them last night? Dude, they literally were putting in guys that I go, oh, crap, he's still on their team? And he goes out and gets you 15 and 12. I think what happened with the league is, guys will go to there are guys that are great college players that stay in college. Congrats to them. They're getting paid with the NIL. But then you have the talent that goes to the NBA and that is developed and cultured. And as these 18, 19, 20-year-olds start to get better, you're going, oh, crap, look at this guy. Like, look at Derek White. Look at Derek White's journey to now the dude averages almost 20-something points a game. Like, no one, and he's their third or fourth best player on the team. Like, the development of these teams is exceptional. Obviously, Boston's done a great job. You look at Charlotte's turned their team around. San Antonio's been crazy. OKC. You look at the players developing now in Denver or in Phoenix. Like, guys that want to go to the NBA now are built for NBA basketball. And I think that Vegas and Seattle need a team like gas on a freeway. It is going to be amazing for those cities, if those are the cities that get picked, to have teams. But Vegas obviously can support an NBA team, and Seattle is turned into the hub of the Northwest of basketball in general.
All right, Channing, really appreciate you giving us all that perspective. So I was told by sommelier Phil over at Dante that two preeminent events. He's amazing. He's taught me a lot about wine, and you have your wine, which is Chosen Family Wines, and you've made this like a full-time gig on your part, and you're going to be attending both opening day and this 5-course meal on April 2nd at Dante in Tremont. Tell us about that event.
Right, man. Listen, I always, Kevin and I. So it's not just me. I can't ever take that credit. So it's Kevin Love and I. We've started this like 6-7 years ago. It has been an amazing journey, right? The ups and downs of the wine industry, figuring out what's going on with our distribution channels. But we finally found the right distributor. Skurnick has been awesome for us to reach the people that we need to reach. And make sure that we're part of the community here in Cleveland. And so we have a dinner, and then it's opening night. And, Dante's was really had a huge effect on my attitude towards Cleveland, being able to go in there after games, make friends, have my retirement dinner party there, do some other events. So for me, always giving back, always want to go back to the places that really just kind of made me feel at home. Dante's one of the best restaurants, I think, in the country. I think Cleveland and Ohio in general has very underrated food. But, yeah, we're just going to go out, have some wine, have some great food, and really just kind of tell the story of Chosen and for people to enjoy themselves. I don't want you to feel all stuffy. We're there to enjoy each other's company, tell some funny stories, talk about the Cavs, and just, have some fun, enjoy a night out.
All right, well, they can call 216-274-1200 to get in on that event. Also, DanteBacuzzi.com. Channing, let's do it again, man. This is great. I want to get back with you during the playoffs. Yeah. Hopefully it's a long run.
Yeah, man. Let me know. I'm down whenever.
Channing Frye, Cavalier fan favorite from the 2016 champions. He's the co-host of the Road Trippin' podcast. He was on the Make It Right Call Kyle Wright hotline. All right, I want to ask, you heard what he just said. Are we still sticking our head in the sand, or is this good vibes only with your Cleveland Cavaliers still? Ken Carman, Tone Master General. Take us with you to work in the free Odyssey app.
Follow and listen to Gone South Season 5, an Odyssey podcast. Available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your shows.
There's only one place to hear breaking Browns news. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns, 92.3 The Fan.
So apparently during the interview, when we were talking to Channing Frye, there was a large boom in downtown Cleveland or somewhere around Cleveland.
I'm seeing everywhere around Cleveland.
So the National Weather Service, this is real, this is an official government account here, has tweeted back at somebody. This social media reaction is brought to you by
Scheib & Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
It says, what is the latest GLM imagery? Because somebody said, heard the loudest boom now in Northeast Ohio. People heard it as far as Avon. What was that? Was it a meteor? National Weather Service says the latest GLM imagery does suggest that the boom was a result of a meteor. Holy potato salad.
Yeah, it's weird. Everybody's blowing up our phones and social media, and we didn't hear it because we were in the studio. So I can't tell you what it sounded like or how terrified I was when it happened.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Are we all good?
What do you mean?
So
I'm fine. How are you?
I mean, no, is everything out there good?
I don't know. We're in here.
Where did it land?
Out there.
I think Kenny's going to ask a lot of questions, and our answer will be, no idea. I'm sitting here.
I know. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just got a lot of questions, and you guys can't answer them. I'm sorry. Apparently there was a sonic boom, and the meteor, I would imagine, crumbled through the atmosphere, correct?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know that you should say any of that. I think you should just say, according to the National Weather Service, it is suggested the boom was a result of a meteor.
Which I'm always fascinated that doesn't happen every minute of the day, all over, with especially the type of debris that has a chance to fall all over the place.
2 weeks ago, I drove out to Perrysburg, and there was a moment. I left here, it was 75. There was a moment in the middle of the Turnpike Drive that it was like snowing and blowing as hard as it's ever blown. This is not last Friday's. This is 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, I guess, in this area, 300 years ago, when it was uninhabited here, right?
Yeah.
What was it like, right? Like, it just snowed and people died because they froze. And I'm in this nice warm car, just being warm with my T-shirt on, right? Like, are we going through there's a lot of natural phenomenon that happen that now, because of technology and what you have in your everyday life that we take for granted, quite frankly.
Right.
You just go throughout the day, your normal business, and it happens out there.
How does it land here, though? This is everybody's telling me they heard the boom in their different places in Northeast Ohio.
I mean, the image that the National Weather Service put out shows something. It shows two beams of green light, maybe. I don't know if those are touchdown points or whatever, but one of them looks to appear to be around Avon, and the other one is further south, like maybe Medina-ish, maybe a little further south than Medina. That's just me guessing off of a aerial photo.
I didn't hear a thing. Well, I'll be. Well, I hope everything's okay out there.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of people jumping to conclusions because, elevated military happenings and goings on all over the world. So people, I think they go to worst case scenario immediately when this is one of those where it's probably the most logical, right?
Yeah. It's always been. I'm just making sure.
Now the news
is on it.
I'm sure they're going off the same report that we saw.
Okay.
We need boots on the ground.
They've got National Weather Service on the phone.
Get me Jay Reynolds on the phone. Yeah. Okay. All right.
From R.J. Reynolds?
No, not from R.J. Reynolds.
Because I might need one of those.
We're not giving away the cup here. All right, so we'll pay attention to it.
Yeah, hopefully nobody or nothing was in harm's way, because There are a lot of different places that could go and do some really, really bad sustained damage.
Mark says, heard it in Chardon, thought my house split in half. Strange. Lordy.
Hoping the parking garage is still up next door. I have a car in there.
All right. 216-474. Don't call about that. All right. Well, back to business,
People
I suppose.
asking if it's just Ken Carman falling out of his chair again. That from Robert.
There you go. There's your fat jokes.
Chaz Gennaro definitely heard in Avon Lake. Thought we had someone on the roof working.
Ken just farted. From Ken. Sorry.
That loud?
No. Wouldn't do it that. That's crazy. All right. We'll pay attention to it as the morning goes on. I would imagine there would be, whoa, geez, that's nuts. On St. Patrick's Day, mind you.
Mark says, heard and felt it in Chardon, thought my house split in half. Strange. Had a few people say that. They thought it was their house.
Keith Britton, sounds like we have Wilford Brimley explaining a geological phenomenon. We're in Cocoon.
We'll bring back the Cocoon line. Does that account still?
Or I'll just go to the one for the, not just screwing, Mitch. A type of intimate things, oral and whatnot. All right, 216-474-0092. All right, are we putting our heads in the sand? It's hard to pay attention to the business here. Are we putting our heads in the sand when it comes to the Cavaliers?
I don't know. Channing Frye just came in and was like, it's the end of the season. It's a game in March.
Yeah.
Kind of like, who cares?
Thank you.
I know yesterday, Nick and Jonathan, we played the audio. It was great. They got into it about just how big of a deal it was.
Mm-hmm.
But listen to Channing Frye, and let's see if he thought it was a big deal.
I think the anticipation of nobody gives a rat's behind anymore about regular season stuff. So I think neither do they. I think right now, if I'm them, as long as I'm top four, I say, okay, we're good, right? Health is huge. Getting guys healthy and understanding how teams are going to play them is huge. Getting guys in rhythm is huge. And I think it's sometimes bigger than the actual game. You know, with a team like the Cavs, they could be number one in the East, and everyone's going to be like, no one cares. What are you going to do in the playoffs, right? I think you look at the Cavs, the Knicks, Orlando, three teams that I think really have expectations of like, you got to do something or we got to reevaluate what we have as a team.
That's Channing Frye. See, well, he kind of. There's a way that certain players. I mean, there's some guys that they're just going to go ahead and they're just going to say nice things and that's it. Channing Frye has no reason to say anything nice. I mean, it's not that he's like an ill-tempered person or anything like that, or has any axe to grind against the Cavs for crying out loud. But he would have no reason to kind of soften the blow or just flat out tell us what he doesn't believe about the Cavaliers this year. Like, he has no reason to do anything like that. So you don't have to worry about that. So when I hear that from Channing Frye, it's like, all right, I got you, me, Jonathan on the same side here. I'm not trying to just team up on Nick, because I do think that Nick represents a very strong majority of fans. They're just silent, they're just quiet, who don't believe that this team is quote-unquote serious. Like you said, you had people tweeting you yesterday when we were arguing or talking about the Cavs after they lost to Dallas, who were like, they're not a serious basketball team. And one of your problems was, okay, then tell me who is serious.
Yeah,
how do you trade for James Harden during the season? You traded a couple years ago 3 first-round picks for Donovan Mitchell. How do you say that they're not a serious franchise?
Well, it's just funny because that immediately I'm like, all right, how many serious teams are there in each sport then? If the Cavs aren't serious, how many are? Would only 3 teams have a chance every year in every sport? Especially when we've seen in sports more teams have a chance to surprise, once you get into the postseason. Even the NBA. The NBA always used to be pretty clear-cut who has a chance and who doesn't. And you knew immediately if you didn't have certain things, it was like, yeah, you can win a bunch of games, but you really have no shot. And then like the Toronto Raptors won the championship. Or last year, the Pacers got all the way to Game 7 with a lead at halftime before their star went out with an injury, and nobody had the Pacers winning. So, look, did anybody believe in the Pacers until they actually did it? No, so that's fine. Reserve the right to do it, but it just sounds like some people in this town act like this Cavs team is like a 30-win team that has zero shot to do anything. And I'm like, Man, can I present you about 89% of the league?
I think
to get upset about before you before you act like the Cavs are terrible.
I know it's not as fun when we agree with each other, but I think you're dead ass on about that. 216-474-0092. Are we holding the Cavs to an unfair standard? Want to know from you guys on this. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work. If you're at work, take us with you to work. Put it on at work on the free Odyssey app.
Brad Evans here to help you beat the Bulls.
662-314-4603 for details.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
Earlier yesterday, off of our discussion about the Cavaliers, sorry, I didn't mean to get so loud there. Off of our discussion about the Cavaliers, Nick and Jonathan, in the afternoon, they had themselves a pointed discussion, dare I say a heated argument over the state of the Cavs. Nick has not budged on his thoughts of the Cavs in the game against the Dallas Mavericks, would give him no reason to. Here is that argument. Go ahead.
If Boston ends up overtaking Detroit, and they've been trying to play this thing for the 4 seed the entire time, and they overplay their hand, that will be devastating for them. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. That would be a second-round exit, is what that would end up being.
Yeah, and that'd still be a massive failure.
It'd still be better. It'd still be better than what you had with Darius Garland.
No, it's not. No, because you're in the same spot.
Darius is giving you that.
Did you not get bounced out in the second round of the playoffs each and every time?
That's the point, though. I don't understand why it's so anti the James Harden deal when you were stuck.
Because it's supposed to get you over the hump.
But Darius wasn't going to get you over the hump anyway.
God bless it.
He wasn't going to do it.
This is exactly why I do lump you in with Ken and Lima and all the other people that just want to be good vibes only with the Cavs.
I don't see what's the problem.
Because there's a very real conversation.
They made a real trade.
They went for it and failed.
They made a real trade. They haven't failed yet. We're not even into the postseason.
No, but the point is,
can we just?
You can't call it a failure yet, Nick.
Can we just say, like, I don't know why Nick is holding back. Like, he's so close to it, and he's holding back at the last second. I don't know if he doesn't want to make more enemies, because I saw he made a lot of them yesterday. Just come out and say you think they're not going anywhere. Just come out and say you think they stink for all the money that they spent.
If you're already calling it a failure.
Yeah. Even though everywhere they have the second best odds in the Eastern Conference. So that means there are 12 other teams, right?
Yeah.
There are 15 teams total. So there are 13 other teams that would be dying to be the Cavs right now. The only one that wouldn't be is the Boston Celtics. The Knicks fans, they don't think they're going anywhere.
Nope.
Detroit fans don't think they were going anywhere.
No.
So if Nick were in those cities, what would he be saying? Would
Philadelphia,
he be screaming
Milwaukee.
at the Knicks? Would he be screaming at Philadelphia? Just say what's on your mind, Nick, which is you think the season's over and they're going nowhere. I think we'd all understand that that's been your point of view. That's consistent. You clearly have not said anything positive about them since the trade. You haven't, even though James Harden's been shooting 43% from three. He's been as efficient as he's been in a long time. And he hasn't been the big sieve defensively that everybody said he was. And he's been better than even Darius has been defensively. So if your problem is with, okay, they don't have the wings. Okay, I'm with you. They have flaws. They're not a perfect team. There was no move that was going to make the Cavs a perfect team at the deadline, right? Like, we couldn't just conjure up the best players in the game to compete during this playoff run. What they could do is upgrade at the position that was holding them back in the playoffs. That's not everything, but there's only so many moves you can make. So just admit it. You think they are not good enough. And you think, I mean, it does sound like he's rooting against them, but I don't want to put that on him because he is a Cleveland fan. But let's be honest. Everybody that's tweeting us, they're like, Nick sounds like he's not having any fun with the Cavs. Like, acting like this is the worst 50-win team because they're on a pace for 50 wins. They're the worst 50-win team in the history of basketball.
I think it's an unfair standard.
They got a better shot than like the Atlanta Hawks did when they ran into LeBron.
Guys, I think it's an unfair
There's no LeBron
standard
in this conference.
And my issue with it is that I think there's a very quiet. They're so quiet, but you're seeing it on the internet. You see it there.
Yeah, they have to prove it.
And there have been
They have not proven it.
But there have been a couple of callers. And again, I think it's difficult for somebody to call in and disagree with us both. When you and I are fighting with each other and we're saying nasty things about each other personally during a sports argument, it's very easy to get in and take a side. All right? When you and I agree with each other, that's a tough cage to enter. And you and I agree with each other on this. The Cavs are better than what they were. It was a necessary trade they had to make because they had to trade Darius Garland at some point in the very, very, very near future. You heard Rich Paul say it. I think at this time you got the very, very best player possible that you could get. All that pointed out, I still think a lot of people don't like James Harden. They agree with Nick. They're not necessarily going to say it. They're not going to say it out loud. I think there's so many people that agree with Nick. I don't agree with him. I don't agree with him.
Listen,
but there's so many people who agree with Nick, and they are waiting for this team.
We all agree the same thing. We're all saying the same thing. They have to prove it in the playoffs. Nobody disagrees with that.
But the problem is you're not. I shouldn't keep saying that. My issue with it is now. You think you're annoyed now? You wait until they do lose in the postseason.
I'll be annoyed with them.
I'll be annoyed. No.
I'm not going to be celebrating if they lose. If they bounce and
you know how this is going to go.
I'm going to crush them.
You know how this is going to go.
As well, everybody should.
If they lose in the second round, it is going to be. There's going to be a victory lap from Cavs fans about their own team losing. That they were right. You and I and Jonathan and. I don't know what Jake stands on, and I don't know where Baskin Phelps stands on. But you and I and Jonathan were wrong. Nick and they were right.
Did anybody say that the James Harden trade Sharpies them? We talked about pencils, and we laughed about it. But did anybody say that guarantees them a chance? Like they're going to the finals or they're going to win the finals? So nobody said that. So who are we arguing against? We all just thought that gave him a better shot.
We're arguing against Nick, apparently, and a lot of people who agree with him.
Does Nick honestly think they don't have a better shot than they did before the trade?
I think he does.
He thinks what?
I think he thinks they don't have a better shot than before the trade.
But he's the one that said...
He already called it a failure. Listen to the effing audio.
But then he also said that they should have made the Darius trade over the last years. Okay, we agree. But that means you don't do anything. You just have to stick it out, rub your nose in it.
I'm not his representative. I have no idea. I don't agree with the man.
The whole NBA Finals are busting. Yes, we all say those things all the time. Yeah. But what does bust really mean? What does it mean?
Breaking up the team.
So, okay, well...
If you lose in the first round, you run the risk of breaking up the team.
Yes.
If you're losing the second round, it'd be annoying.
So would you be mad if they then traded Evan Mobley for Giannis? Would you be mad? Are you going to be like, oh, it went so bad they had to go get Giannis. Darn it, Cavs. Yes, good. If that's what it takes, good. Then I'll be really excited next year. And then Nick will say, well, wake me up when the playoffs start. And I'll say, no, I'm going to go to all the games and have a blast watching this team that I think has a chance to go deep in the... Like, am I supposed to just quit the Cavs if they don't go somewhere this year?
It's a wild standard.
Is that how sports work? Let me ask you. Is that how the Guardians work? Is that how the Browns work? Or is that only a special niche that is carved out for the Cavs? Like... And by the way, it's funny because I'm the one that the owner blocked years ago on social media. So if anybody should have a vendetta against the Cavs, it should probably be me. But I don't because I like watching the team win every year a lot of games more than they lose. And I like basketball, so it's a perfect storm for Lima. Your boy loves this time of year. I love the NBA playoffs. I made a case that the NBA playoffs are better than the NFL and baseball because the best players are playing in the playoffs every year. And I get more dates and more games, and it's awesome, and the stakes are high. And what, I'm supposed to go in and just go, wake me up when it's game 7 of the finals and we're on the verge of clinching. No, I like this. I like this time of the season. And don't try to ruin it for everybody just so you can do I told you so's. Guess who also did I told you so's last year? Me. And the year before, I didn't think those teams were good enough. This team, probably not going to win the championship. Do I need to do I told you so down the road? But I do think they have a better shot now, and I'm excited about it. And I do think we could see Donovan Mitchell author up some unbelievable, spectacular moments that I'm going to remember the rest of my life. He has a chance because he's done it before. Maybe Evan Mobley breaks through this year. I don't know. I wouldn't put all the money in the world on it, but he's still very talented. He's had some big games over the last month. So maybe James Harden puts together some big games.
Do you think they're going to the finals?
He had some big games in last year's playoffs.
Let me ask you, do you think they're going to the finals right now?
I would say the Celtics are the team to beat in the East. So probably not.
Then I got to tell you, the worst is yet to come.
Fine.
The worst is yet to come.
Fine. Then heads will roll, and they'll try to improve the team again. They don't fold the franchise. They don't get relegated if they win 50 games and they don't get to the finals this year.
For the record, I'm with you on this. We are holding hands in lockstep.
If we're doing this now, we got to do it with all the teams in town. Can't just be a Cavs thing, because that's weird.
Man's got a point. Man's got a point. Now, wait a minute. What if the Browns were to be like a 3-win team and this thing just goes bust? Then you hold them to a different standard?
You're supposed to say, wake me up when they finish second last in the AFC North.
Thanks to Ryan Wilson who joined us today. He was fantastic. Listen to him about what the Browns should do at number 6, whether it should be that offensive lineman or should it be Carnell Tate. Also, Channing Frye was excellent. Spent 20 good minutes with him. Listen to all of it. 923thefan.com and on the free Odyssey app. Bye-bye. Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last